how the Gators are doing this year.
Yeah, even Coach Spurrier said that at this time, this year versus last year, he's got to say that both the offense and defense are playing better. Of course, it still, needs to be told how the rest of the season's going to go. But right now, everything's looking good. Stats are up, injuries are down, and then got to be happy with that. The Gators have the day off today, as they do every Sunday, and for the second straight week, no major injuries. You might remember Chris Dorian took a big hit going for a pass yesterday, but he is okay. And Elijah Williams sprained his hand slightly, but he is also doing all right. And he looked all right yesterday against Kentucky, rushing for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns at #1 on the depth chart. 1 touchdown in the first half, 1 in the second half. And he likes platooning with Fred Taylor. It's been a big help.
Yes, I realized. I remember the day I was so tired, and I just called Fred to come on in, and then the coaches, they don't have no problem with that. When everyone's tired, the other one just come right on in. And I think it's good that we got 2 good tailbacks.
You can make that 3 good tailbacks because Tyrone Baker wasn't too far behind Williams and Taylor rushing. He had 78 yards and even got a touchdown.
I didn't know how much playing time to expect because I've been out for about 3 weeks now, so I was just, happy to be in there and score my first collegiate touchdown.
That he did, his first collegiate touchdown, Tyrone Baker out of Buchholz. The Gators, well, they go back to #1 in the AP poll, up by 9 points over Nebraska. They have 27 first-place votes, Nebraska with 22. CNN stays the same. Florida State is up 1 in the AP to #3. Michigan and Florida State, Miami and Penn State are 4 and 5 AP CNN. Penn State moves up 2 after beating Southern Cal yesterday. Notre Dame, you see their #8, dropped 5 after the big loss to Michigan, and Wisconsin and Arizona stay the same at 9 and 10.
Last week, the Florida offense flexed their muscles, ripping through the New Mexico State defense for over 600 yards. Terry Dean's SEC record-setting 7 touchdown tosses, and Jack Jackson's 4 touchdown receptions led the Gators to 56 first-half points. This week, Florida enters Southeastern Conference play as they tackle Kentucky, a team that always plays Florida tough and nearly upset the Gators a year ago.
I thought we had lost the game.
3rd and 10, 28-yard line.
It was 8 seconds on the clock.
Werfel dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle.
Chris Doran caught the ball and went in the end zone. I think you could hear a pin drop in the stadium at that time.
That dramatic come-from-behind win instilled character in the Gators and propelled them towards their 2nd SEC title. This time, the Wildcats come to the Swamp, and to a man, Florida feels a dominant performance is a must.
We definitely need to go out and show them that we can play a little better than what we did last year and show them that that was not the Florida Gators that all the other teams in the SEC faced. We have a little something to prove to them, but then again, we understand that they're a very worthy opponent, and we're going to have to prepare well and go out and play them just like we would play the Auburns and the Georgias in the conference.
It's Kentucky and Florida next. From Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field in Gainesville, Florida, Sports Channel presents University of Florida football. Today, the Kentucky Wildcats face the Florida Gators. And hello again, everyone, and welcome again to Florida Gator football on Sports Channel. I'm David Steele with Big Jim Yarbrough. We're glad to be with you once again. Southeastern Conference opener for Florida and Kentucky. Kentucky a winner last week against Louisville, and Florida was all over New Mexico State, Jim, here at Florida Field. The schedule said week 1, but the Gators looked like they were in mid-season form offensively.
Well, David, the fun and gun was operating on all cylinders last week. Terry Dean, the leader, had a magnificent ball game. 7 touchdown passes, an SEC game record, ties an NCAA record, 271 yards in total offense, and Terry Dean looks to be off to a great start in '94.
And Dean's #1 target last week and probably throughout this season, Jack Jackson. He had 4 touchdown catches in that first half.
Well, it looks like Jack Jackson's going to be the go-to guy for Terry Dean in this fun-and-gun offense. He's obviously going to be the leader of the wide receiver corps. Jack Jackson might be the best receiver in college football today.
Well, the Gators had great success last week against New Mexico State. Not likely to have that kind of success today against a much better Kentucky football team. You know, traditionally, the Wildcats have given the Gators a lot of problems.
David, most recently, I remember the '91 season. The Gators were about to win their first uncontested outright SEC championship battle, and Kentucky came in here and gave the Gators all they wanted. If it wasn't for a late fourth quarter drive, the Gators might not have been SEC champions, and we all remember the Kentucky game last year.
Yeah, and that was a wild one last year up in Lexington. The Gators pulled it out in the last seconds on a miracle play from Werfel to Chris Doring, but statistically, Florida dominated this game.
Well, they did, 288 yards passing, but 7 interceptions, and they'll never be able to afford to do that again against Kentucky or any other SEC team. That was an aberration.
You know, Kentucky, they figured to be a little bit better this year, even than last year. And last year, the Wildcats had a winning season with a 6-5 regular season record. Now let's go down onto the field. Steve Babbitt will be roaming the sidelines for us again today. And Steve has a report on a flu bug that's been making its way around the University of Florida campus this week. Steve?
Well, David, earlier in the week, it began with the football team with Terry Dean and Ellis Johnson, who had to check into the infirmary with the flu bug. And then later in the week, it went to Danny Werfel and Jeff Mitchell, and those guys had to be in the infirmary to get IV fluids. It was that bad, and some other guys had it too, so it's kind of made its way through the football team from Monday through Friday. 2 guys from last week that will not be able to play that were hurt include Shea Showers and Anthony Ingracia. So between the flu bug and some injuries, some of the guys not being able to play, but enough guys to play in this game between Florida and Kentucky, and that'll be coming up next right here on Sports Channel.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Milk, it does a body good. By Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the little yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. By First Union and the First Union check card. It's the card that works like a check. And by Bryan Foods, the flavor of the South.
Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida Field in Gainesville. David Steele and Jim Yarbrough. It's Florida versus Kentucky on a warm September afternoon in North Central Florida. 85 degrees at kickoff. Lots of humidity and an excellent chance of showers for the football game. Kentucky will kick off. There's head coach Bill Curry in his 5th year as head coach of the Wildcats. Georgia Tech graduate, former head coach at Alabama, and has built this Kentucky program to the point where they can contend for the upper echelon of the Southeastern Conference. Last year, 6-5 and a trip to the Peach Bowl and a heartbreaking loss to Clemson there.
Jack Jackson receiving the kickoff with a 28-yard per game return average. He's a threat anytime he touches the football.
Brian Savinsky kicking off for the Kentucky Wildcats. The game is underway from Gainesville. Larry Kennedy. And down goes Kennedy at the 21-yard line. Tackled by Reggie Rusk on the Wildcat special team. Here's your University of Florida offense. Quarterbacks by Terry Dean, the senior, the running backs Williams and Bilkey. Hill and Jackson, the wideouts, and Doring gets the start today at the tight end spot. Reggie Green back in the starting lineup due to the injury to Anthony Ingracia, and a veteran University of Florida offensive line, and those tackles anchor it, Odom and Green. Terry Dean going to throw on first down. Elijah Williams, the freshman from Milton, swarmed under by the Wildcat defense at about the 23-yard line, and the stop made by Dante Key, the junior from Franklin, Kentucky. And let's take a look at that Wildcat defense. Along the front line, Mike Schlegel, a veteran there, and Schlegel along with Wright. And in the linebacking core, Eric Wright led the ball club with tackles last week against Louisville. Melvin Johnson, a veteran, freshman All-American a few years ago, has been bothered by injuries, had 14 stops last week against Louisville. Matt Noose makes the stop, the big hit on Elijah Williams, and very little gain for the Gators on second down.
Last 3 games, Terry Dean's really been hot. 62 of 104 for 782. 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Of course, this Gator offense got over 600 yards last week against New Mexico State, but obviously they're going to be much tougher against SEC opponent Kentucky this afternoon.
Did not have many 3rd and 9s last week against New Mexico State, and Dean can't find an open receiver. He'll have to eat the football, and Kentucky has held the vaunted Florida offense on its first possession. The Gators will have to punt the ball as Carter and Key ran Dean out of bounds.
And that's a rare occurrence when this fun and gun offense is 3 and out, especially to begin a ball game. One of the keys to Florida's success since Coach Spurrier's returned in 1990 is that the Gators have been able to strike quickly with their offense. But right there, a great job by Kentucky, 3 and out.
Florida scored on its first 8 possessions last week against New Mexico State. And Shane Edge only punted once last week against the Aggies. Edge back to punt. Theo Sanford. Long driving kick from Edge. Sanford breaks a couple of tackles. And finally is taken down by Kevin Freeman. Fred Weary had a good shot at him for what would have been a big play for the Gator special team. 50-yard punt, 5-yard return.
Shane Edge really drilled the football, but an excellent effort on the return. Kentucky with good field position just outside their 30-yard line. As we look at their offense,
Mo Williams had 109 yards against the Gators last year up in Lexington. Mark Askin, really the only true veteran along that offensive line. It's a young offensive line for the Wildcats. Askin is making his 29th start here today. Quarterback Antonio O'Farrell, a junior from New Jersey. Hands the ball off to Williams, and Williams gets good yardage on first down. The sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, had 52 yards last week against Louisville. Dexter Daniels there to make the stop. We look at Florida's defense. Kevin Carter, a potential All-American, had 6 stops last week against New Mexico State. And Kevin Freeman, a 5th-year senior, leads that linebacking core. Ben Hanks, a solid performer along with Daniels. And in the secondary, 5th-year senior Michael Gilmore, a solid football player and academic All-American as well. O'Farrell. And passing the ball is not his strength. Randy Wyatt overthrown there, and Wyatt was open.
he was 4 of 10 last week. Kentucky only put the ball in the air, I think, 14 times during that entire ball game against Louisville. Last year, Mo Williams, as a true freshman, 9 rushes, 109 yards. He had 1 big sprint, I think, for over 60 yards early in that ball game. He was one of the truly outstanding freshmen in the conference, in the country, really, as running back last year.
At 928 yards as a freshman, a new Kentucky record for a freshman running back. Big third down play early for the Wildcats, 3rd and 3. Option, O'Farrell pitches out to Williams, and the Gators have him surrounded. No gain as Wright, the strong safety, and a Hanks came up to make the stop along with Dexter Daniels. Perfect execution defensively against the option.
And the crowd roars their approval. They want desperately for this defense to rise up and shut down the opponent. And that's exactly what the Gators have done here on their first defensive effort. You see the late pitch there under a lot of pressure. Mo Williams finally getting the pitch late, but Gator pursuit snuffs out the play.
The punter, Nicky Nichols, gets it away. And Sorola Palmer from the 25. Penalty flag went down on the near side of the field. Palmer goes down at the 41-yard line, and the tackle made by Damon Hood for Kentucky. Let's check the flag.
One of the problems with the Gators last year against Kentucky was they had at least 14 penalties, I believe, in that game, as well as the 7 interceptions. That's something that the coaches believe they can obviously correct as we look at the officiating crew that's here today, led by Bill Goss, the referee. Indicates there was some pushing in the back right there. But you can't afford to penalize yourself.
On the return, first down. Well, the Gators were penalty-prone last week against the Aggies and have been a penalty-prone team really in the 1990s. Very aggressive brand of football that Steve Spurrier and his coaching staff teach. and they're penalized here on this punt return. Last week, the Gators were penalized 11 times for 99 yards against New Mexico State. So Florida will have it. Instead of at its 41-yard line, the Gators will be first and 10 at their own 25. And both teams ran 3 plays and were out early in the first quarter. We'll be back in just a moment. Kentucky in the first quarter from Gainesville. No score in the game. Florida head coach Steve Spurrier has done a terrific job as head coach, not only at Florida, but as a head coach in college football. Years at Duke. Now with the Gators, really puts up huge offensive numbers everywhere he goes. This is the defensive coordinator at Kentucky, Mike Archer, formerly the head coach at LSU, a defensive specialist, and has done a good job with this Kentucky defense.
You'll recall he was a defensive coordinator for Snellenberger at Miami when they had some national championship teams.
Lots of time for Terry Dean, and Mobley is the receiver, and he goes out of bounds to the 37-yard line. Keo Wilson and Eric Wright combine to make the stop on the Gator fullback, Dwayne Mobley.
You know, those coaches will tell you it's not personal, but it gets personal along that sideline when the defensive coordinator is matched up against someone with Spurrier's reputation.
Well, Kentucky did a good job against Florida last year. They picked off 7 Florida passes. Just about pulled off a big upset. First down for the Gators. Dean's got good protection again. Jack Jackson breaking open, but cannot get to the football. It'll be second and 10.
Lehman Boyd all by himself, the safety on Jack Jackson. There was a blitz on the left side of the formation. It was picked up very well by the Gator offense. A lot of time it seemed for Terry Dean to look downfield. He might have let go of that football a little sooner than he wanted to. He probably wish he could have that one back, obviously. Jack Jackson breaking loose down the middle, but they weren't able to get the ball to him.
Last year's numbers for Dean against Kentucky. Quick screen out to Riddell Anthony, and Anthony is corralled at about the 42 or 43-yard line. Taken down by Dante Key once again.
Last year, Terry Dean had 4 of those 7 interceptions. Danny Warfel was responsible for the other 3. Obviously, that was a nightmare experience for those guys, and certainly want to improve upon that performance against Kentucky this year.
Well, that Kentucky game last year was so pivotal in so many ways for the Florida football team, both as a team and for certain players individually. Dean connects with Fred Taylor. Taylor has the first down across the midfield, strike to the 49.
I think this is a dimension that Fred Taylor is going to add that many folks don't expect. He's obviously a talented, big, strong running back, but he really seems to have the soft hands. We've only seen him play now on 2 Saturday afternoons, but see how easily he catches the ball with confidence right there. He'll be a great safety valve for Terry Dean all year.
Taylor, the freshman from Belle Glade, out of Glade Central High School, true freshman, number 21, lined up behind Dean. Terry Dean throwing on first down for Jackson, and the pass is incomplete, but a Kentucky defender got there too soon. George Harris, number 8, who's the man who made the illegal contact on Jackson.
Yeah, George Harris there along with Melvin Johnson. Good coverage, but just bumped him the moment before the ball got there. He was obviously trying to break up the pass. Harris.
Pass interference, defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
And you make a good point, Jim, because Kentucky had good coverage on Jackson. Harris didn't need to make the contact here.
Actually, he's double covered. You see one receiver, one defender right there, and you see the safety coming over to help out too.
It's a good call. Terry Dean applauding the yellow flag, and the Gators with the ball at the Wildcat 35-yard line. Florida's second possession. The pitch to Taylor. Kentucky stuffs the run again. The linebackers, Noose and Wright, on the stop.
Change the formation there a little bit. Bring Sean Nunn in at tight end. Try and run a power sweep along his side to the left. But Kentucky doing a nice job at the point of attack, and looks like one of their Warriors is down with an injury.
It's Eric Wright, I think, the sophomore linebacker, and last week he had 10 tackles against Louisville. Kentucky lost 8 starters. They have 8 new starters on defense from a pretty good defensive team a year ago, but Bill Curry and his staff, Mike Archer, feel like they're better defensively than they were last year, which shows you something about the quality of athlete they've been recruiting for the last 4 years.
And certainly a big victory for them in the initial inaugural battle against Louisville in that state of Kentucky with a win last week over Louisville. Howard Schnellenberger doing a great job with that program over the last few years, and that was a big win for Bill Curry, Mike Archer, and that whole staff. They come in here with really a lot of positives going their way early in the '94 season.
They won the Governor's Cup last week against their in-state rival. First meeting between Kentucky and Louisville in 70 years, which the Wildcats won a week ago. Terry Dean on second down. Just did get rid of the ball, and he threw a strike to Jackson. Oh, what a throw by Terry Dean on the run. He was pursued by Mike Schlegel and still threw a strike 30 yards down the field.
Well, Donnie Young and Reggie Green get confused on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Look at the right side. You're going to see a tackle upfield and then the end underneath. They don't pick it up. Terry Dean's forced to get out of the pocket because of the pressure, but he's still able to find that go-to guy, Jack Jackson, who somehow got open on the drag route there, made himself available to Terry Dean.
Gators fake to draw. Dean, his pass is incomplete, intended for Taylor. Coming out of the backfield. And the pass is broken up by linebacker James Tucker, who just came into the game a moment ago for the injured Eric Wright.
Looking to the left of the formation, trip receivers on that side. Doring catching the seam along the middle, wide open. Terry Dean doesn't seem, of course, it's easy for us to see, especially on the replay. Terry Dean's under a lot more pressure than we are up here, but certainly Doring was wide open.
It looked like the same play that beat Kentucky last year with 3 seconds to go. Fortunately for the Gators then, Danny Warfel spotted Chris Doring up the field open. Right now it's 2nd and 10. Dean has 2 receivers wide to the left, 1 to the right. Doring lined up as a tight end on the right side. And Dean threw it high and into double coverage, and Melvin Johnson for Kentucky, number 25, almost had an interception.
Now, Terry Dean might be pressing the football to Jack Jackson a little bit too much right there. Both wide receivers were man for man. Jack Jackson on the inside was double covered, but still Terry Dean tried to go to Jackson, so that might be a tendency he should get out of right there. Of course, it's Jack Jackson who makes those fantastic catches, but so do so many of these wide receivers in this fun and gun offense.
Play comes in from the Florida sideline. A little discussion going on between the officials. Looks like they brought in a new pigskin for Dean and the Gators to work with. Now it is 3rd and 10 from the Kentucky 17-yard line. 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. Taylor moves in motion.
Gators were 9 of 15 in third down conversions last week. Need to convert these big third downs.
For Aubrey Hill, touchdown. They just stretch you out, challenge you defensively, make you cover so many things that you can't cover it all.
And then you wind up with a linebacker on Aubrey Hill. 4 and 5 wide receivers, those linebackers just in a terrible pinch. James Tucker, he's responsible for the run too, you know, so all of a sudden he finds himself matched up man for man with Aubrey Hill, and Terry Dean says, hey, I'll take a piece of that.
Aubrey Hill's 13th career touchdown catch. And his 2nd of this young college football season. The extra point by Jed Davis is good. He was 10 for 10 last week. And Terry Dean has thrown another touchdown pass, his 8th of this young football season. The Gators strike early against Kentucky. We'll be back in a moment. Scoring drive, exactly 75 yards, just under 3 minutes. And they take a 7-0 lead on Dean to Hill. Randy Wyatt fumbles the kick from Shane Edge, and Kentucky's going to be in a bad fix here. They're going to have to start their offense from inside the 10 at about the 6-yard line, as Jason Bartley was, or rather Xavier McCray was there to make a big play for the Gators. Ron Zook, Florida special teams coach, and has to be proud about this play.
That's a huge play by the Gator kickoff team right there. Of course, the bobble was a lucky break for the Gators as Randy Wyatt couldn't find the handle, but a lot of blue jerseys swarming on the football right there.
You know, a lot of times a fumble like that will result in a big return. So give the Gators credit for not letting that happen. First down for the Wildcats at their own 6-yard line. Fullback. O'Farrell's having problems relaying the signals to his teammates, and Mo Williams has got even more trouble. Number 57, to be precise, Kevin Carter.
What an advantage the defense has when the crowd gets in the game, especially when the opponent's backed up near his own goalpost. Right now, Kentucky having all kinds of trouble hearing the snap count, but one guy that got off quickly was Kevin Carter. Kevin Carter making the big hit right there on Mo Williams.
Kentucky 3rd down and 7 from their own 9. O'Farrell rolling out. Almost intercepted. Lawrence Wright just about picked it off. Jaysuma Sims just about made a great catch.
Really a
good play by the Wildcat special team.
Beautiful job by Nichols booming that punt away from his own end zone. But look at the Gator offense starting inside Kentucky territory right here.
Which was a key to their success last week against New Mexico State. How many times did Florida take the ball near the midfield mark and easily march it down into the end zone against the Aggies? Dean has Bilkey and Williams behind him. And the officials stop play again.
Some kind of equipment problem on Donnie Young.
Charge to the Florida team for illegal equipment. First time out.
Didn't that happen last week against New Mexico State?
Evidently, he's got a glove on that needs some kind of wrap or tape on it. Coach Spurrier asking for an explanation there.
Donnie Young is taken out of the game, and Dean Golden, big number 62, a 6'6", 283-pound senior from South Plantation High School. Checking into the game, there's Big Dean.
Well, it's amazing the difference in today's football gear than when I was playing for the Gators in the late 60s. These kids that watch the offensive linemen now, they wear these huge knee braces that protect their knees. They wear the gloves, of course, much like a boxer does, so they can punch and shove and not bust their knuckles and that type of thing.
They scrapped the leather helmets right about when you finished, too, didn't they?
Well, they added the face mask. No, come on, give me a break.
Hadn't been that long yet.
No.
Bill Curry did a good job, I thought, at Alabama. Not quite good enough, but lands on his feet in Kentucky and has done an excellent job with the Wildcat program. A little counter play for Elijah Williams.
First time we've seen that in the '94 season. That was a great play for Eric Rhett in the '93 season.
Yeah, that was Rhett's bread and butter. Dante Key with another tackle. He's off to a big start for the Wildcat defense. Williams almost had 100 yards in his college football debut last week against New Mexico State.
Once again, this guy's more of the scat back, where Fred Taylor is more of the power back.
Second and 7. Being a little play action. And the pass is caught. It will not be enough for a first down. Elijah Williams with the catch at the 41-yard line of Kentucky, about 2 yards short of a first down.
Now, once again, championship teams need to convert on third down, especially in the opponent's territory. Right here, the Gators with a 3rd and short, a little over 1 yard, it looks like. Big opportunity here for the Gator offense.
The fullback, Bilkey, in motion. Hand off to Elijah Williams. Williams running behind the big right tackle. Roger Sullivan made the stop. Reggie Green, I think, is the man who cleared the path, and the tight end, Shaw Nunn. And Green just slipped in behind those two big horses. Or rather, Williams did behind Green.
Anthony Ingracia, of course, started last week. He's out with a knee problem, but Reggie Green with a lot of notice as a freshman and sophomore with his stalwart play up front. So certainly the Gators very deep in the offensive line with Reggie Green coming in to start today.
Dean going to throw deep for Palmer. almost intercepted. Carlos Collins got one hand on it, and not only was Palmer overthrown, the Gator intended receiver, but Collins was really overthrown as well, fortunately for Florida.
Well, it seems like Terry Dean is making some questionable decisions here as he, again, is forcing the football into double coverage where Sorolla Palmer was the intended receiver right there. Kentucky doing a nice job with that safety getting over to help out. Two safeties in that secondary.
Draw play to Williams. Great move on Melvin Johnson. Williams has a first down to the 21-yard line of Kentucky. Collins made the tackle. Boy, did Williams put a move on number 25, Melvin Johnson.
Well, that's the breakaway speed that they talk about Elijah Williams possessing right there. Finally, Collins in the secondary before he can make the tackle. Carlos Collins, number 20, finishing off Elijah Williams.
Hill and Jackson are wide to the left. And off again, the same play. Draw right up the middle to the 14-yard line of Kentucky. Key on the stop for the Wildcats. Well, you run it once, it works well, you run it again. Let's go down on the sideline to Steve Babbitt.
Well, the equipment thing with Donnie Young was the cast on the left elbow. They had to put a sleeve on that because apparently there were some exposed parts, some metal parts, so Donnie Young had to come off the game, get that set, and he's back in. But it was the left elbow brace that he's been wearing. Apparently last week it was okay, but they made a change on it this week.
Looks like he got a little sheet metal on that thing. Got to be careful.
I hate to catch that in the face.
Whoa.
Look at the draw play again to Williams. Touchdown. Well, the Gators run the draw 3 plays in a row and bang it in with Elijah Williams.
And Jeff Mitchell at left guard, David Swain at center, Donnie Young at right guard. Excellent blocks up front. Look at the play right here. Tailback has no lead blocker at all right there. Wasn't really a power off tackle play or a draw. It was kind of a in-betweener right there.
A lot of good blocks thrown there. That was fundamentally sound football on the ground for the Gators. Judd Davis hits another extra point. Florida leads 14-0 with 4 minutes and 36 seconds to go in the first quarter from Gainesville. We'll be back.
Look at the left side of the line of scrimmage right here. Jeff Mitchell, the left guard, 71. David Swain starts a double team block and then comes off the block to get the linebacker. That's a great play by David Swain right there. Downfield, number 75, Donnie Young throwing the block.
Perfect execution. And Elijah Williams, the freshman from Milton, Florida, gets his first touchdown carry for the Florida Gators. He took one in last week, which was called back because of a penalty. There's the drive set up by the Florida defense, which held Kentucky to 3 and out. Florida got the ball on the Wildcat 49-yard line and took it promptly 7 plays down the field, with Williams getting the bulk of the yardage.
You know, if you tell someone that doesn't see the Florida Gators play that often that the draw is their basic running play, they won't believe you, especially when they look at the numbers that the Florida tailbacks put up. But it's really true.
It's not like the Emmitt Smith days when it was toss sweep left, toss sweep right. This time Kentucky's going to down it. Randy Wyatt, who fumbled it last time and gave his team poor field position. This time we'll play it safe, and the Wildcats have the ball at the 20. Good kick by Shane Edge.
Yeah, Shane Edge, very important to these Gators SEC and national championship aspirations. He needs to have a big year, and he's very consistent, Shane Edge.
Wildcat offense huddling up on the sideline, and now they sprint onto the field. They'll be first down from their 20-yard line. Kentucky trails Florida 14-0 in the first quarter. And O'Farrell will work from a shotgun. Their starting quarterback, Jeff Speedy, was injured in the second quarter last week against Louisville. O'Farrell on a quick toss, and the ball is caught by Donnell Gordon.
Now, Pookie Jones, who led this Kentucky offense for a number of years, decided to play pro baseball instead, and so Kentucky's been shuttling quarterbacks throughout the spring and fall. Right now they're going with the shotgun formation.
That pass was caught by Isaac Curtis rather than Gordon 85 Curtis, who is the son of former Bengal great with the same name and wears the same number as his dad wore for the Cincinnati Bengals. Second down and 8. O'Farrell gives it off to Gordon this time, and Gordon is hit once by Daniels, hit a second time by the Gators. Who was that second man? Daniels hit him first, that's for sure. And then he got help from somebody.
I think it was Mark Campbell. Let's see, I think it's Mark Campbell from the right side is going to make the first hit, and then Dexter Daniels is going to scrape off and finish off the play. That was Campbell and
then Lott.
Yeah. Daniels and finally Lott. Anthony Lott, number 9.
No gain on the play, 3rd and 8. Kentucky trying to get its offense started out of the shotgun formation on this set. They option out of the shotgun, and Gordon cannot turn the corner. Lawrence Wright was there to make sure that Donnell Gordon did not turn the corner.
Now that defense playing with great emotion right now. They were disappointed that they gave up the big play to New Mexico State early last week, and they have the fans on their feet right here roaring, as this is the kind of Gator defense that all the fans have been hoping to see. 3 and out, and then here's another 3 and out as they stretch this play along the sideline and just deny Kentucky a first down.
Nichols gets the kick away. High driving spiral. Palmer will fair catch the ball at the 31-yard line. A 45-yard kick by Nichols.
Excellent punting by Kentucky right now.
Really is.
Job right there.
This time the Gators don't have the field position they enjoyed on their last possession when they took it from the Kentucky 49-yard line in. This time from their own 32. Florida with the ball, first down and 10, leading 14-0 in the first period. Jackson and Hill are the wide receivers. 2 running backs, tight end Sean Nunn on the field. Red Taylor driven down by a host of Wildcat defenders near the 40-yard line, but a gain of about 7 or 8 on first down.
Gators making a few changes in the line of scrimmage right now. Mo Collins, big number 79, doing a nice job there. You see Fred Taylor started off the 94 season with 72 yards. Elijah Williams got a shade over 100, I think. That's a lot of production out of your tailback position. If the Gators can continue to get 130, 140 yards out of the tailback position with those 2 backs, they'll have a great running game.
Draw play for Taylor. Taylor out of bounds at the 36-yard line of Kentucky.
Now the first play was a bit of power football off tackle. That time back to the draw.
25 yards for Taylor.
Mike Archer on the left. He's got his hands full. Drop back. Hand off. Mo Collins again. 2 great blocks up front by the freshman. Who else downfield? Mobley. Dwayne Mobley, number 23, also downfield.
Gators have run the ball now, I think 5 straight plays, which might be some kind of record. Dean throwing, though, for Jackson. Touchdown.
But there is a flag on the play.
Back near the line of scrimmage. What a great throw by Terry Dean. What a great throw.
And here come the chorus of boos as the fans realize it was an illegal motion against the Florida Gators.
Well, Steve Spurrier was not happy about the officiating last week when it comes to the illegal motion calls. There were 4 or 5 of the 11 penalties against Florida last week. Illegal motion, and the coach was not happy about those calls, and obviously he tossed his visor and didn't like this call either.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty.
6 men on the line of scrimmage is the call. Here come the Gators up to the football again, now from their own 40-yard line. So the touchdown is called back. Another draw play to Taylor. Matt Newt, the linebacker, there to make the stop. Let's go down to Steve Babbert.
David and Jim helping Fred Taylor out in the middle of that offensive line. 3 new guys in there now. Kevin Johnson at center, and the guards are Dean Golden and Mo Collins. Now, there's 2 reasons I think Jim Ray Stevens is doing this. Obviously, trying to buy some time as far as the heat factor, the humidity, giving guys a break, but he's building depth and confidence in that offensive line, and he said, hey, Golden, Collins, and Johnson can play for a lot of teams. They can play for us.
Jimmy Ray Stevens showing a lot of confidence in those young linemen in the first quarter here against Kentucky. Taylor, good receiver out of the backfield, and he holds on at the 36-yard line. Carlos Collins is there to make the tackle for Kentucky. That will bring up a 3rd and 11 for Florida.
One of the keys for this Gator team in '94 is the depth at both offensive and defensive line. A lot of talented guys rotating into both of those lines. Keep fresh legs on the field. That makes a big difference, especially in this heat early in the fall.
Dean looking to throw the ball. He's got Jackson at the 19-yard line.
James Tucker thought he had Jack Jackson covered. Terry Dean was able to get outside the pocket, and he just waved Jackson a little bit deeper. As he turned, Tucker lost him for a moment, and Dean was able to zip the football in there.
Jim, Kentucky has just called timeout. I think they had only 10 players on the field on that last play. Mike Archer's called timeout. Kentucky was 1 man short, and that's not the way you want to play Florida. You'd like to have 12.
Having a 6th defensive back if you can get him on the field.
Bill Curry was trying to get people on and off the field before that last snap, and I think he wound up with only 10. And now Kentucky has called for a timeout. The Fighting Gators tackle the Tennessee Volunteers Saturday, September 17th at 11:30 p.m. and Sports Channel is right here to bring you all the excitement from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. Catch all the action on Sports Channel. Check local listings for Sports Channel and Gator Vision coverage in your area.
Of course, Tennessee in Athens tonight to face the Georgia Bulldogs. Another great SEC battle. Terry Dean gets the message from Coach Spurrier now, and back in that offensive huddle on 1st down. A lot of opportunity for the Gators to stretch this 14-0 lead right here.
Now Kentucky's got 11 defenders on the field. Dean, there's that quick sprint draw to Fred Taylor again. Melvin Johnson hit him from behind, but Taylor dragged him about 5 additional yards to near the 7-yard line.
Well, you just have to isolate, if you can, and view the offensive line. Look at the blocks up front. There's 3 on 2 right there, and then the back jukes out the linebacker who was supposed to make the tackle. Fred Taylor not hit at all by the inside linebacker as he juked him out completely once he broke the interior of the line of scrimmage.
Florida's running early in the game, very impressive, and here comes Taylor again, inside the 5 to the 4. That time he was tripped up by Roger Sullivan. Taylor's got a lot of patience as a young running back. He makes good moves, and he's not in too big of a hurry to get to a hole. He'll wait.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. By Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. And by Cellular One, the first and only with digital phone service. Cellular One, you heard it here first.
Florida Gator fans celebrating a 14-0 Gator lead after 1 quarter. Every seat is filled at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. The crowd in excess of 84,000 watching the Gators in week number 2. And they fell from the rankings last week unbelievably after a 49-point win against New Mexico State. A lot of comment about that, not only around Florida, but all around the country. And how the #1 team could fall despite winning by almost 50 points. But it happened to Florida. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Steve Spurrier, the way he handled the entire #1 ranked situation before the game against New Mexico State. He pretty much downplayed the ranking and said, well, let's just enjoy it. We don't know how long it's going to last. And sure enough, 1 week later, despite an impressive win, voters put Nebraska in the #1 spot. And who knows what's going to happen this week. But certainly right now, the Gators look very impressive against Kentucky and don't seem to be too concerned about ranking or anything else but putting the ball in the end zone.
And what I liked about Coach Spurrier's comments earlier, too, is that he didn't ignore the fact that they were rated #1. He said it was an honor.
We'd rather be #2 than be Cornhuskers.
Herbie Husker would rip that sign up if he could.
Oh, me, I'll take the weather down here, that's for sure.
And the wind chill is a little bit more tolerable here in November and December.
2nd down and goal from inside the 5. Dean wants to throw it to the end zone. Man open, touchdown, Aubrey Hill. On the first play of the 2nd quarter, the Gators take a 3-touchdown lead on Kentucky.
Now, Aubrey Hill's the widest receiver on the right side of the formation. He runs a deep hook in the end zone. Keo Wilson, #1, is in coverage, but Aubrey keeps coming back towards Terry Dean, and as Dean decides to come off his primary receiver, he drills the ball right into Aubrey Hill for the Gators' 3rd touchdown of the first half.
Another extra point by Davis. He's getting pretty good at that. He's hit 13 already this season. Let's take another look at the Florida touchdown.
Look to the right side of your formation. I don't believe Aubrey Hill's the first choice. He wants to go to Jack Jackson, who's sprinting toward the sideline, but he comes back to Aubrey Hill. See the deep hook right there?
Could have had either one, couldn't he?
Now, Keo Wilson tries to break back, but not before Terry Dean gets another touchdown pass.
Terry Dean, 2nd. And the Gators lead 21-0. Back in a moment. Up on Kentucky, 21-0. Rudolph and Wyatt stand deep for the Wildcats. Edge's kick will be returned this time by Randy Wyatt. And down goes Wyatt. Ben Hanks on the stop at the 25-yard line.
Along with Sam McCorkle, who seems to make a living off these specialty team tackles.
Scoring summary for the Gators. Their 3rd touchdown of the afternoon, 8 plays, 68 yards. And Terry Dean's 2nd touchdown pass to Aubrey Hill of the day gives Florida a 3-touchdown lead against the Wildcats, who got some votes. Did not crack the top 25, but got some votes for a national ranking after their win last weekend against Louisville. Quarterback Antonio O'Farrell gives the ball off to Mo Williams, who is surrounded by Gator tacklers in the backfield. Dexter Daniels, a linebacker, is there with Kevin Freeman and Johnny Church, #40, in the game now for the Gators, giving Mark Campbell a rest.
Well, your inside linebackers are supposed to lead the team in tackles, and certainly this afternoon, Dexter Daniels and Kevin Freeman doing a great job in the interior of that Gator defense. The big guys up front, though, are creating a lot of havoc.
Farrell drops back into his shotgun formation. O'Farrell, he's got Curtis, and he's got a 1st down across the 40 to the 42. Darren Hambrick on the stop. Isaac Curtis Jr.
Isaac Curtis, 6'3", 213, and certainly his father was one of the truly great wide receivers in the NFL. But right now, with total offense, the Gators a 6-1 advantage in terms of offensive production here in the first half.
O'Farrell will run the option. Picks up good 1st down yardage to the 50. Michael Gilmore, the free safety, and the senior from Chipley, makes the tackle on Antonio O'Farrell. Here's another look.
Well, he reverses out, gets a nice lead block from Hood, Damon Hood, who was injured last week after getting 100 yards rushing. Antonio O'Farrell, the young junior quarterback right there. We talked about Kentucky, not sure what their quarterback situation would be here in the '94 season, but right now O'Farrell is the guy leading the attack.
Well, Williams stacked up near the first down marker at about the 48-yard line. It looks like he'll have enough for the first down as Kevin Freeman and Dexter Daniels, the aggressive pair of Gator inside linebackers, there to make the stop. And they're going to have to measure. O'Farrell, the Kentucky quarterback, had been moved to the defensive backfield in the spring. And then when Pookie Jones decided to go professional baseball, O'Farrell was moved back over to the offensive side. But then he had lost the starting quarterback job at Kentucky to Jeff Speedy. Speedy separated his shoulder last week against Louisville. And so O'Farrell is ushered back in as the starting quarterback this week against Florida.
And Bill Curry's defense, you don't want to have a lot of uncertainty in your quarterback position when you start a season, and that's exactly what Kentucky had to face.
Well, the Wildcats have now reeled off a pair of first downs on this possession. And they're in Florida territory at the 48-yard line. The fake by O'Farrell. And the pass is caught by Jebron Farah at about the 37-yard line of Florida. Good throw and catch by the Wildcats.
Anton Lott in coverage right there. Jebron Farah to the left of the formation. Ellis Johnson putting in good pressure immediately. But O'Farrell's able to get the ball out there into the hands of Farah just along the sideline, and that's but the third consecutive first down that Kentucky has been able to get on this drive, their best of the afternoon, certainly.
Drive began at the Wildcat 25-yard line, and now at the Gator 36. O'Farrell with good protection. Randy Wyatt makes the catch, and the ball popped out of there, but it's going to be ruled incomplete.
Larry Kennedy in excellent coverage right there. We haven't called Larry Kennedy's name that often because they really haven't thrown at him. He's the premier performer in that secondary, returning for the '94 season, and Larry Kennedy not seeing a lot of footballs come in his area. This might be one of the first ones of the '94 season, and he's immediately there, but the handle was never gotten on the football, so it's an incomplete pass, not a fumble.
Kentucky going to the shotgun, and the Gators have not been able to get a lot of pressure on the Wildcat quarterback since Kentucky went to the shotgun formation. Once again, he's got protection, and he's got Curtis, and Isaac Curtis is in for the touchdown. Well, the Wildcats marched right down the field against Florida's defense, and they're on the boards early in the second quarter.
Isaac Curtis the third, actually just a sophomore, 6'3", 213 against number 4, Lawrence Wright, man for man. He just gets the quick post on Lawrence Wright and has that great long stride, much like his father had when he was a star in the NFL. Excellent job on the post route, man for man. Lawrence Wright just can't stay with Isaac Curtis.
The extra point is good by Savinsky. Was his dad that big?
Yes, his dad was 6'5". This kid's 6'3".
Yeah, weighed over 200 pounds too, huh?
Yeah, so this boy's got a couple inches to go, and he'll probably grow. He's a good-looking kid.
Kentucky on the board with 12:04 to go in the second. It's 21-7. The Gators still on top. We'll be backing off. Brian Savinsky, Jack Jackson, and Larry Kennedy are deep. And this is Kennedy from the 15. Breaks through to the 25 and out to the 29, and a flag goes down on the tackle. Well, let's see what that one is all about. William Renewert made the tackle, but it looks like the flag is going to go against the home team.
Now George Harris, number 8 for Kentucky, was celebrating. He thought he got pushed in the back.
On the return, illegal block from the back, above the waist, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, that negates an excellent return by Larry Kennedy, but the Gators don't want to be starting drives inside their own 15.
Bill Curry's Kentucky Wildcats go 75 yards in 7 plays and do most of the damage in the air. as did New Mexico State. Last week, the Aggies scored 3 touchdowns against Florida. Gators still lead by a couple of touchdowns. Still early in the second quarter. And Terry Dean wants a timeout. That's the first timeout the Gators have used. Or the second, rather. They've got 1 timeout left in the first half. Something Terry Dean saw up at the line of scrimmage he didn't like. And now he talks it over with the offensive genius behind the Gator football attack, and it's, of course, Steve Spurrier.
Looks like Kentucky came out with 2 defensive ends. They got Chris Braun. Excuse me, it wasn't Chris Braun. It was 87 for Kentucky. Dante Key lined up at defensive end in a stack formation right there, and I don't think Terry Dean thought that the offensive ball play would work against that formation, so he decided to call the timeout.
Well, we've had a lot of exciting offense once again here at Florida Field early in this football game. And let's take a look at a scoring summary. Florida opened up the scoring. Terry Dean's 16-yard pass to Aubrey Hill on the Gators' second possession of the first quarter. Second touchdown scored by Elijah Williams on a 15-yard run. And Williams rushed for or received all of the yards on that Florida Gator drive. And then the Gators' third touchdown on a Terry Dean 4-yard toss to Aubrey Hill on the first play of the second quarter. Kentucky scored on Antonio O'Farrell's 36-yard touchdown pass to Isaac Curtis III. And Kentucky did just about all of its damage on that possession by throwing the football. Terry Dean with a couple of touchdown passes already today, now 9 for the season, and still has yet to throw his first interception, although he has flirted with one a couple of times against Kentucky's secondary today. Ball is at the 14-yard line, and now Dean hands off to Williams. Elijah Williams to the 25. Elijah Williams to the 30. Williams cuts back to the inside, and he's still on his feet at the 40. What a run by Williams to the 35-yard line of Kentucky.
Yes, Elijah.
51 yards.
And he almost made it all the way. Unbelievable balance. Last time we saw that kind of balance on Florida Field, it was a guy named Emmitt Smith running the football. This time it's number 25, Elijah Williams. Look at the juke and the move. That arm tackle doesn't take him down. That one doesn't either. Now he's going to make the cutback right here. That arm tackle's not going to get him. Jack Jackson says, oh, my goodness, you're still coming.
Fred Taylor, the ball carrier, down to the 31-yard line. You draw a line of Elijah Williams' run there. From one side of the field to the other, it looked like a road map between Corbin, Kentucky, and Williamsburg on US 25 through the mountains. He went everywhere on that run.
Elijah Williams, a well-deserved rest along the sideline right there. That was the first big running play of his career here at the University of Florida in terms of yardage gain.
Fred Taylor, the freshman, runs over a man inside the 20, down to the 16-yard line.
Fred Taylor says, Elijah, you go ahead and take a break. I'll carry that pigskin right now.
And what a distinct offering there of those two running back style.
Yeah, a little bit more power with Fred Taylor, although don't underestimate his quickness. You see him dance outside. There's another little juke and a move, and now dip the shoulder and deliver the blow right there. That's a way to finish off a tackler who's coming to take your head off.
He just flattened Reggie Rusk at the 15-yard line. Taylor again. Wildcats gang tackle him, led by Matt Noose at the 13-yard line.
Really important for the Gators to finish this drive off if they can with the touchdown. Obviously, Kentucky coming back to get their 7. Close within 2 touchdowns. The Gators can quickly answer that right now as Florida with 165 yards rushing. Kentucky, obviously, primarily a running team. They're not the fun and gun offense that the Gators are purported to be, but it's the Gators who are racking up the big yards on the ground this afternoon.
Little flea flicker. Terry Dean's got the ball. He's throwing it deep for Jack Jackson, and it's broken up. A good play by Carlos Collins.
Once again, I think Terry Dean getting a little greedy right there. There was at least 3 white jerseys. No one was fooled by the time he had thrown the football. He was lucky that ball wasn't intercepted. It was Carlos Collins in the corner. We saw this play get set up a little bit earlier when they used it to run the football. Now the guys in the secondary are reacting. See Collins, he's got plenty of time to react right there. Jack Jackson, look at that vertical leap right there. Way up to try and make the catch anyway.
Jackson and Hill line up wide left. Dean on 3rd and 8. All the time in the world, but he threw a lame duck intended for Fred Taylor. That pass may have been deflected, or maybe he got hit as he threw the ball.
Now Kentucky came with a 4-man rush. Only 4 men rushing, 7 dropping back. Let's see where's the breakdown. He's got time, he's got time, he's got time. Just at the last moment, coming off Reggie Green was big number 53. Howard Carter.
Look at Judd Davis. Impressive numbers last year. His first field goal try of 1994 from 31 yards, and he drills it. The Gators settle for 3, and they open up a 24-7 lead here in Gainesville against the Kentucky Wildcats. 9:40 to go in the first half, and we'll be right back today against Kentucky. The Gators with 24 points on the scoreboard, and 9:40 still to go in the first half. Last scoring drive, 72 yards, 7 plays, stalled out, and the Gators settled for a 31-yard Judd Davis field goal. On the return for Kentucky, Theo Sanford, and he is drilled at the 20-yard line.
Anthony Riggins, a super play into the wedge and then makes the tackle too.
Let's go down on the field to Steve Babbitt.
Well, in the 90s, their names are Eli Williams and Fred Taylor. Eli Williams with already over 100 yards as the Gators are doing it on the ground against Kentucky. And David and Jim, if you think back in the early 80s, the names were Anderson, Jones, Hampton, Williams. Maybe in the 90s, a new tradition starting with Eli Williams and Fred Taylor as far as quality backs and guys that can go in and not lose a step.
Gators like those simple names with their tailbacks, don't they? Taylor, Williams, Smith, Jones, Anderson. O'Farrell is picked off. Larry Kennedy stepped in front of Klein Rudolph and gets the INT.
Now, so important for this Gator defense to create the turnover, create the opportunity for the fun and gun offense to get back on the field. Larry Kennedy, many who recognize him as the premier defensive back, certainly in this secondary, and an all-conference performer. Freeman hits the quarterback just as he releases the football, too. Helped with that interception effort.
That is O'Farrell's 8th career interception thrown, and Larry Kennedy's 5th career pickoff. Williams, the ball carrier on first down, a couple of yards to the 36. Second-ranked Florida looking to open up a bigger lead against Kentucky. They're up 17 with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Kevin Freeman really leveled O'Farrell after the Wildcat quarterback let go of the football. Terry Dean for Williams. Williams out of bounds at the 28. Stephen Hall on the corner made the tackle, and it looks like the Gators will have another first down.
Well, traditionally, the Gator tailback is a primary receiver in this offense. You'll see a Gator tailback, for instance, Eric Rep had a huge amount of receptions after he left after 4 years, coming out of the backfield, being a primary receiver most often, as well as a safety valve.
First down for Florida. Dean for Williams again, and Stephen Hall hits him head-on at the 19-yard line. You know, Steve Spurrier has not substituted as freely with the wide receivers this week as he did last week. We've seen a lot less of Riddell Anthony and Ike Hilliard, the 2 true freshmen.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Those guys were on the field early last week, but this afternoon it's the returning lettermen that are getting most of the action. Doring, Sorolla Palmer, Hill, Aubrey Hill, Jack Jackson.
And those 4 are on the field now. Sprint draw to Williams. Elijah Williams getting a lot of work in the first half. Tucker, the linebacker, was there to make the stop and help from Robert Stinson. Steve Spurrier really working his tailbacks. He's throwing to him. He's handed off to him. Pitched to him a couple of times. Florida's rushing numbers. Got 170 yards rushing already today. And 108 passing. Dean's going to try and quarterback keep for the first down. And it appears he's got it.
That's the favorite short yardage play of Coach Spurrier's offense, the quarterback sneak. And when you got big guys like David Swain, Donnie Young, Jeff Mitchell in front of you, got a lot of confidence in that play. You know, David Swain's really a leader, a senior at center, anchors this offensive line. He's a brilliant student, but he's a terrific ball player as well. Big Swain, number 52 at center.
Dean on first down. This is Ike Hilliard, and Hilliard, the freshman, has the first down and goal at the 5-yard line.
Well, they must have heard you talking, David. Ike Hilliard, I don't think he'd been on the field until these couple of plays. Nice coming back out.
Ball is at the 5. Dean engineering another impressive Florida drive after the interception by Larry Kennedy, the All-American candidate in the Florida defensive backfield. Dean changing the call up at the line. Kentucky comes with an all-out blitz, and it's an easy 6 for Chris Doering. Doering slipped in there. Terry Dean picked up the blitz. All he had to do, Doering, is step inside of the defensive back. Dean almost threw it behind him.
Well, I think Chris Ford is 6'1", but he looks a lot smaller than that. It looked like Doering had a big advantage, certainly in position right there, as he juked to the outside, cut quickly to the inside. The ball's in the air. Terry Dean knew he wanted to go to Doering all the way right there. There was no doubt in his mind that was going to be the place he was going to try and put the football. Doering quickly got to the inside to make the catch for the touchdown.
Judd Davis gets the extra point. Well, some touchdown plays are made with your arm and your physical ability. That one was made with his head. He picked up the blitz, and the physical part of it was really the easiest for Terry Dean that time.
Also for Chris Doering, he was on the same page with Terry Dean the whole time. And look at this, a 31-7 lead with still 6:40 left to go in the first half. And we talked about the fun and gun being operational last week. I think that continues to be the case here as they open up the SEC season, too.
Florida's offense for early season really is even more impressive. Jim, when you think about this team still has 9 games to play after today, how good, if everybody stays healthy, will this offense be by week number 11?
Now look at this 7-play, 38-yard drive. This team has got unlimited potential, David, really, with Terry Dean being so skilled at the quarterback position and all these talented guys on offense, the depth of the offensive line. It's amazing what these guys might achieve.
Keo Sanford on the return for Kentucky, and down he goes at the 24-yard line. Tackle made there by McCray for the Gators. Another good point to make here about Florida's offense. Their touchdown drives have not been any great length of time either. They've all been 2-3 minutes. No 5, 6, 7-minute drives for this team. They take the ball and they throw it or run it right down the field.
Well, and while we're patting the offense on the back, remember it was Larry Kennedy's interception, the turnover, that keyed that last touchdown drive. Now Antonio O'Farrell brings out the Kentucky Wildcat offense.
He's got receivers all over the place. From the shotgun, and the pass was tipped and incomplete. I think Daniels got a piece of it. Dexter Daniels deflected the pass intended for Isaac Curtis. When you've got Kentucky and O'Farrell throwing the ball out of a shotgun in the first half, You got to feel pretty good about your chances, Jim. That's not Kentucky's strength.
Bob Pruitt, the second from the left right there. Bob Sanders, Bob Pruitt, and that's young Steve Spurrier there in the middle, joining his dad on the staff as a graduate assistant this year.
Second down and 10. O'Farrell from the shotgun again. He completes the pass to Mo Williams. Only got a couple of yards as Ben Hanks came up and made the stop with help from Dexter Daniels.
And they say he caught the ball and then fumbled it out of bounds. Ben Hanks, number 11, had a good year last year, but they're looking for bigger and better things out of Hanks here as they change the defensive alignment. Hanks more of a safety in some situations, more of a linebacker in others, but typically he's more of a linebacker. Darren Hambrick on the field right now, number 42, in an obvious passing situation.
Third down and 8. Pass completed to Rudolph. He's got great speed if he can get in the open field. He shook 2 tacklers. A good effort by Rudolph, and he's close to a first down. Michael Gilmore is the man who finally took him down for the Gators.
Now, the Gators had the play diagnosed, but 2 missed tackles and a great effort by Clyde Rudolph might have picked up that first down. Michael Gilmore was the guy trying to make the last hit right there, and he got carried forward just a bit. Now they're going to say it's 4th. What's Bill Curry going to do? 4th and inches? 4th and inches? What's he going to do? He's going to go for it. Why not? Why not, he says.
5.5 minutes to go in the first half, and gambling Bill Curry is going to go for it on 4th down and less than a yard. And there's movement everywhere. The question is, were the Gators drawn offside or not?
Well, it looks like they certainly jumped. Got antsy right there. That Coach Bill Curry might have simply had that play designed for that purpose only.
Defense made contact. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, you can't do that. You got to anticipate, but you never guess. Looked like it was 36. Kevin Freeman.
It looked like the center, Carruthers, snapped the ball when Freeman was in the neutral zone. I think that might have been what the call was.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. As soon as he gets a guy caught there, he snaps the ball. Catch him in that neutral zone.
O'Farrell hands off to Williams. Boy, Williams has just not had room to roam today. Henry McMillan, big 60, was there, along with Campbell, 67. Linebackers have made most of the tackles, it seems, so far today. That time, McMillan and Campbell, along that front 4, made the stop on Williams.
So Kentucky, if we can check the scoreboard out, with only 25 yards rushing, right there, 25 yards rushing.
Remember, Williams had 109 yards on the ground against Florida last year, but 70 of those yards last year came on one play. O'Farrell got away from Campbell somehow. And O'Farrell scrambles out to the 48-yard line. Good effort by Antonio O'Farrell.
Well, we saw it last week, and here we see it with Antonio O'Farrell. Just an excellent effort by a scrambling quarterback. The play breaks down, not able to get the ball downfield out of the shotgun like he wants to. There's the pressure. Ellis Johnson finally forces him out. Mark Campbell had the arm tackle right there. Finally, Anthony Lott and Michael Gilmore have to come up to shut him down just short of the first down marker.
It is 3rd and 1 for Kentucky. And they pitch it to the tailback, Gordon. And it looks like Kentucky will be very close to the first down. Or that's Damon Carter, rather. Junior college transfer on the carry, number 29 for the Wildcats. They're going to bring the chains in.
Now, Damon Carter is one of the most highly touted junior college transfers in the country, coming into Kentucky to alternate at that tailback position with Maurice Williams. Looking for a lot of production out of him, too. But that time, Kevin Carter got up there as they strung the play out. Carter almost making the tackle for a loss.
Kentucky's short. Bill Curry.
Fourth down again, huh?
Bill Curry will probably make the same decision. If he went for it 10 yards back, then
he's got to go for it the rest of the day.
Yeah, logic would dictate he do the same thing. And that's what he's going to do. Florida leading 31-7 with 3 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the first half. Wildcats lose 3 yards. Damon Carter on the option hit behind the line of scrimmage. Ben Hanks, number 11, was able to string him out with help from his teammates, and the Gators will take the football.
You're absolutely right, David. String them out is exactly what they did. Look at the top of your screen. You see Ben Hanks getting out there, Dexter Daniels getting out there, Kedra Malone getting out there. Kedra Malone with all that speed, you knew they weren't going to get outside of him. But it was Hanks, the guy that ultimately made the big play.
Florida's got it in Kentucky territory at the 45. Here's the sprint draw again with the freshman Taylor. Taylor tackled around the ankles by Carter after about a 3-yard gain.
Well,
Senior Howard Carter.
Excuse me, you'll recall on the last scoring drive, the Gators got the ball because of a turnover by the Gator defense. Larry Kennedy in the secondary getting the interception about the same place on the field. This time, in the Gator defense shuts Kentucky down on 4th down. The Gators get the ball back once again in Kentucky territory with plenty of time to get a more score.
Quick screen to Jack Jackson. He's trying to cut back to the opposite side. He got a block from Terry Dean. He got another block from Dean. And another block. There's a flag. And Jackson is out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Donnie Young may have thrown the illegal block. It was close. Trying to get Jackson back.
Well, they say somebody else did too. I don't know if both flags were for Donnie Young. It looked like Donnie Young had the angle. Jack Jackson all over the field on that play. Obviously, that play was designed to be.
Illegal block from behind above the waist. That penalty is declined. Clipping, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat the down.
Well, let's see which one if we can figure out which one they call.
Well, he almost has a head-on collision with Donnie Young right there. That's a good block by Terry Dean. Now maybe this one. Oh, they call that pushing from the back. I think that's the first flag.
That's the clip.
That's a good block.
That's the clip.
That's a good block. No way.
That's the one that Kentucky accepted.
Maybe they call him hitting below the waist. What a clip.
Terry Dean's going to use up Florida's final timeout of the half with 2 minutes, 1 second to go in the second quarter. Florida 31, Kentucky 7. After the long clipping penalty, Gators from their own 33-yard line. Eli Williams. Great blocking along the right side of the line. Williams brings it out to the 45-yard line.
Well, they give themselves a shot at making the first down now on 3rd and about 20. Of course, it wouldn't be surprising for Coach Spurrier to go for it on 4th down.
I think he's looking at 2 plays to pick up these 20 yards. Ball is at the 44.5. Dean looking to throw. Jackson was open, but Dean couldn't get there in time. He threw that ball off his heels, and Tucker, the linebacker, almost got there in time to make the interception. Back to the sideline we go, and here's Steve Babbitt.
Even though that wasn't the prettiest of Terry Dean's passes today, I tell you what, David and Jim, we have seen Terry Dean become a very good field general. On that one scoring toss to Chris Dorian, he saw the blitz, he checked off, and he got the play off with just 1 second left on the play clock. A few times he's noticed a bad formation or the wrong player in the game, he's called timeout. So Terry Dean has a good presence on the field, and he knows what Coach Spurrier wants. He's making good decisions out there.
He's come a long way from last year at this time when, as he describes it, he feels like he was in a fog against Kentucky up in Lexington. Good kick by St. Ed. Sanford goes down at the 10-yard line. 45-yard kick and no return. Fred Weary doing a good job on the Gator special team.
Weary, just a freshman out of Jacksonville Mandarin High School. Great effort right there. A lot of hustle.
He and Kedrum alone. Weary almost had him once and then just got up and tackled him. 1:09 to go in the first half. It's been all Florida. The Gators jumped to a 14-0 lead. 21-0. Then Kentucky finally got on the board. At 21-7, the Gators had scored 10 more points. O'Farrell connects with Leon Smith, and Smith steps out of bounds at the 16.
Kentucky really needs to be careful here that they don't turn the ball over in their effort to get something done on offense. They might make a poor judgment right here, give the Gators a big opportunity. So they're trying to do two things. One is move the ball out and perhaps have a chance to do something, maybe a long field goal, but certainly they don't want to give the ball back to Florida on the turnover.
Wildcats have 5 men out in pass routes, and O'Farrell can't connect with Smith. 3rd down and 5 for Kentucky.
And they stop the clock. You know, they don't pick up the first down. Florida might get the ball near midfield, and they don't need a lot of ticks on the clock to get something done with that fun and gun offense. So I don't know. Kentucky's taking a chance right here, throwing the football, stopping the clock.
O'Farrell connects with Curtis. There's the Wildcat first down as Darren Hambrick brings down Isaac Curtis at the 34. And that'll keep this Kentucky effort alive with 50 seconds to go in the first half.
That certainly was a big catch there. Got him out, a little breathing room, have some time to think about it along the sideline. 50 seconds left to go. They're looking to get maybe an opportunity at a long field goal. Certainly like to have 3 points right before the half if they could.
Well, Bill Curry's strategy has been to go all out against Florida. He's not playing it conservative at all. In fact, he went to the shotgun early with O'Farrell. He has twice gone for 4th down and inches on his own side of the field, and now he comes out throwing, trailing 31-7, backed up deep in his own territory, and Bill Curry, unwilling to sit on the football, is coming out trying to get some points. The Wildcats trail it, though, 31-7 late in the second quarter. The fullback barrels out to the 50-yard line.
That first down will stop the clock. Kentucky doing a really nice job here with this drive right before the half. The big pass play to Curtis and coming back with the draw out of the shotgun.
Best running play of the day for the Wildcats. 16 yards for Woodford. Now Farrell going back to the air. Pump fakes and throws it short for Leon Smith. Ben Hanks runs him out of bounds at the 47. That stops the clock with 32 seconds to go in the first half. Well, Florida has to feel pretty good defensively here in the first half. They've held Kentucky so far to just 7 points. If they can keep them out of the end zone here, they've got to feel real good. O'Farrell, good scrambler. Got away from Hanks, but Anthony Lott made the tackle at about the 35-yard line.
Stops the clock again as they reset the chains. Kentucky will quickly get to the line of scrimmage.
They'd like to get as close as possible. Their longest field goal last year was 34 yards, and that came in the Peach Bowl in game number 12. They have a new kicker, Brian Savinsky, who supposedly has more range. O'Farrell's going to throw deep, and it's too deep. In fact, the man who had the best chance was Gilmore to make the catch.
Michael Gilmore over there to help out Anthony Lott. Gilmore the safety. Obviously, that's his responsibility to help the corner on that side, and he was there. But the incompletion does stop the clock with 12 seconds, maybe another play or two before the field goal attempt.
Here's Brian Savinsky, who won the place-kicking job away from Nicky Nichols. Again, they were not very effective last year in field goals. O'Farrell throws the ball out of bounds, stopping the clock with 6 seconds to go. Jesuma Sims was the intended receiver, but O'Farrell just ran out of time. Savinsky did not attempt a field goal last week against Louisville, so he is still untested. If Kentucky does not get more yardage on this play, it'll be a very long attempt. This is 3rd and 10. O'Farrell throws it deep, and Kennedy comes down with a football. His second interception of the first half, and that ends the first half of play. And Steve Spurrier takes his team to the locker room, leading by 24 in the Southeastern Conference opener for both Florida and Kentucky. We'll be back in a moment. As Terry Dean and company rolling up big numbers of points and yardage against their Southeastern Conference opponent of the University of Kentucky. So Florida has a big lead at the end of the first half.
And now a message from
And Jim Yarbrough back in the press box here at Florida Field. An impressive first half again for the second-ranked Florida Gators, Jim.
Well, we thought that Kentucky might be able to match up a little bit better with the Gators. David, they had a opening victory over Louisville, a good program, but coming in here, the Florida Fun and Gun offense is just too much for them, and the Gator defense is really playing big-time football this afternoon.
Once again, the Gator offense rolling up big yards. This week, though, getting a lot of things done on the ground as well as in the air. Let's take a look at some first-half highlights. Terry Dean threw a pair of touchdown passes to Aubrey Hill. This is the first one that gave Florida a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, Aubrey Hill obviously getting wide open right there, but it's the running game that is putting pressure on Kentucky and opening up the passing game for this Fun and Gun offense. This time, here you go with the running game, the young freshman, Elijah Williams. Multiple breaks in the secondary, almost rips this one off for excessive yardage and a touchdown, but he's finally tripped up after over a 30-yard gain.
Yeah, 51 yards to be exact on this play for Elijah Williams, which set up a Gator field goal. Kentucky has one touchdown in this ball game, and it's a touchdown throw from O'Farrell to Isaac Curtis.
Yeah, Isaac Curtis beating number 4.
Lawrence Wright, the strong safety.
Lawrence Wright getting beat man-for-man coverage right there. Isaac Curtis on the post route.
Defensively, the Gators surrendered just this touchdown to Kentucky, and a big interception by Larry Kennedy set up a Florida touchdown as well.
Very important for the Gators to come up with the turnovers on defense, and Larry Kennedy rises to the occasion right here with an excellent interception. Also had one just before the half.
Kennedy did have 2 interceptions, now 6 career interceptions for Larry Kennedy after the first half today. Well, the yardage totals very much in favor of the Florida Gators in the first half of the ball game. You look at Florida's stats, first downs rather at 16, lots of rushing yards, even more rushing yards this week in the first half than passing yards for Florida.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that situation at all in the recent history where the rushing was greater than the passing in the first half. The Gators try and get that equal balance, but right now, really, the running game is the priority.
And they had over 600 yards last week against New Mexico State, and they're on line to get maybe that many again here today against Kentucky. For the Wildcats, 8 first downs, only 55 yards rushing, and they were supposed to have had more success rushing the football, but they've had more success throwing against Florida's defense.
Well, we talked about their talented tailbacks, Mo Williams being an outstanding sophomore, but that Gator defense really shutting them down. The Gators with a 2-1 advantage in total offense right now.
Florida was penalized 5 times in the first half, Kentucky only once. We'll be back with the opening kick for the third quarter after this on Sports Channel. Around here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and after the first half of play, the second-ranked Florida Gators on top of the Kentucky Wildcats, 31-7. At the half, Terry Dean, impressive once again this week, 13 out of 20. 3 more touchdowns to his credit, 125 yards. Elijah Williams, 11 carries, over 100 yards, and 107 at the moment. 51 came on 1 carry, and a touchdown for Eli Williams. For Kentucky, O'Farrell is 9 out of 18 for 101 yards, a couple of interceptions and a touchdown, and Curtis 4 catches, including a touchdown strike from O'Farrell. Steve Babbitt on the sideline with a report. Steve?
Well, David and Jim, in the pregame we mentioned about some of the guys that battled the flu bug all week and would be really monitored closely about the fluids. A good first half. No reports of anybody being sick. The guys that have had the flu have really taken in the fluids a lot in the first half. In fact, Mike Wasik, the trainer, had told me that student trainers have been busy with the Gatorade. So the order of the day, I should say, the drink of the day down here has been the Gatorade. Back upstairs.
As it should be. 30 minutes of football to go, and the Gators with a 24-point lead against Kentucky. Wildcats winners last week against Louisville. They'll play Indiana next week. And Florida, a big Southeastern Conference test next Saturday night against the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville. We have been fortunate so far in that showers around the north central Florida area have not quite hit us yet, but boy, there's some ugly looking clouds and some lightning flashing all around the football stadium as the third quarter begins. Dexter Daniels had a big first half for Florida's defense. He and Kevin Freeman, both the inside linebackers, made a lot of plays.
Dexter Daniels, highly recruited out of Valdosta, Georgia. Certainly having a great season here early in '94. They look to him to be the leader of this defense in terms of making a lot of tackles.
Here's an interesting note we just handed. Elijah Williams.
51-yard run is the longest run from scrimmage during the Steve Spurrier era.
I think Eric Rett longest run was 49 yards. So that
and they talked about this young man having that ability. So in the second game of the '94 season, he already sets a record in that regard.
Shane Edge picks it off, and Keo Sanford brings it out from the 1-yard line. Sanford is driven down on a good special teams tackle by Jason Bartley at the 13-yard line. And here comes Antonio O'Farrell and his Wildcat offense. Wildcat offensive coordinator Darrell Dickey with some final instructions. Kentucky with 156 total yards, 101 in the air, only 55 yards rushing the ball. And they'll come out with O'Farrell under center rather than in the shotgun. Williams and Hood are the running backs. And on the first play, Ellis Johnson almost had a sack before O'Farrell could turn around.
Now they wanted to turn the tackles loose quickly, but not that quickly on the screen pass. Ellis Johnson, I don't think, was touched at all. A lot of heat he puts on O'Farrell. That play had no chance at all because of a breakdown line of scrimmage. Let's look on the inside. Yeah, see, he takes the inside pass rush. The guard was going to just kind of fade out to the right side of the formation and get in the screen, but he's got to take a little piece of that tackle first, and he didn't even touch it.
O'Farrell's in the shotgun. Incomplete, intended for Rudolph, off of his fingertips. Diving attempts by Lawrence Wright. That'll bring up third down and 10 for Kentucky.
Darren Hambrick on the field right now at replacing one of the inside linebackers. Kevin Freeman's not on the field right now. They come out with Hambrick in the obvious passing situation. He did a nice job on the last pass play.
Bob Pruitt likes to get Hambrick and Hanks on the field at the same time whenever possible. O'Farrell has no chance. They are well short of the first down. About 5 yards shy as Henry McMillan leads the Florida defense. Kentucky trying to hurry onto the field. Nicky Nichols ready to punt the ball. Gators got to get everybody off.
They did a nice job of reacting. Kentucky was going to quickly get this punt off.
Nichols hits a low driving kick. And Sorolla Palmer with a good opportunity for a return here. Nifty little move by Palmer. And the Louisiana native steps out of bounds at the Kentucky 32-yard line.
Boy, Sorolla Palmer's really underrated as a punt returner, I think. He's done a wonderful job since he's been given that opportunity. Makes an excellent catch right there. That's not an easy catch to make. Then he adds on the yards. Gilmore wisely not getting the clip. Yeah, wisely, I said, for Michael Gilmore. Keith Allo reminds me he was a Rhodes Scholar candidate. He does everything wisely, I guess, huh?
That was a 30-yard kick, but a 20-yard return for Palmer. Florida with great field position. Dean throwing on first down. He's got Aubrey Hill, and Hill is out of bounds at the 23. Eric Wright, a linebacker, a sophomore from Massillon, Ohio, and Keo Wilson combined to make the stop for Kentucky. Hill with 3 catches, 2 of them for touchdowns.
Nice ratio there.
He's got a high ratio throughout his career. He's got 58 catches now and 14 touchdown receptions. So that's a touchdown about every 4 or 5 times he catches the ball. A measure for the first down. And Florida will have the first down at the Kentucky 22-yard line. After a short punt by Nichols, a 20-yard return by Palmer, the Gators look to expand their 24-point lead. Doring and Anthony are wide to the right. Dean with good protection will have to keep it this time. Terry Dean is tackled in the open field at the 12-yard line. A dangerous play. The linebacker Wright met him head on. And Terry Dean scrambling for the first down.
Excellent coverage in the secondary. There was good pass protection. There was no breakdown up front. Terry Dean just looked and couldn't find what he wanted, so he just tucks the ball away and took the big hit from Wright. Fortunately, Dean bounced up quickly.
Two tight ends for the Gators. Bilkey, the fullback, gets the first call of the day. The ball popped out of there, but let's see if he was ruled down on the field inside the 10. It looks like that is going to be the call. Chris Bilkey, fullback, does not get his number called very often. Very solid, consistent performer, a senior from Holmes Beach. Played at Manatee High School down that way and is in graduate school. He's already picked up an undergraduate degree, working on a graduate degree at the University of Florida.
Now the Gators with 2 tight ends, 1 back.
That back is Williams, and Eli Williams gets the call. Nice move to the inside, and Williams squirms to the 3. Keo Wilson saved a touchdown for Kentucky.
That's a nice situation to be in when you can come in with 2 tight ends and you have a tailback with that kind of elusiveness. 113 yards already for that young freshman.
Williams again running straight up the middle, and he is in for the touchdown.
That's a little in-your-face football right there. Those last couple of plays, 2 tight ends, stop us if you can, running game. Eli Williams giving some high fives to the guys up front, as well he should. He's learning quickly. It's those big guys up front that help him get in the end zone. Watch this movement. The surge right there. Donnie Young, Mitchell. Look at the extra effort. Look at that. He's not stopping. He's laying parallel to the ground, but he continues to churn those legs.
Judd Davis hammers home another extra point. Florida stretches its lead to 38-7 as Eli Williams picks up his 2nd touchdown run of the day. Pouring it on Kentucky. We are early in the 3rd quarter from Gainesville. No one covers University of Florida sports like Sports Channel. All season long, Sports Channel gives the Gator sports fan exciting football, basketball, and baseball action, along with other exciting sporting events. Catch Gator volleyball action right here on Sports Channel on Saturday the 8th at home against the Texas Longhorns at 7 o'clock, and then against the Georgia Bulldogs on the 14th. That one live at 9 p.m. on the 28th of October. Live once again on Sports Channel versus these Kentucky Wildcats. Check local listings for Sports Channel coverage in your area. Scoring drive for the Gators after the short kick and a good return by Sorolla Palmer. Only took a minute 42 to take it 33 yards and build a 38-7 lead. Damon Carter on the kick return for the Wildcats, and Carter is knocked down at the 26-yard line. So Kentucky with the football, trailing now by 31. With a lot of time left to play. 12 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the third period.
Well, if you have any hope of beating the Florida Gators, you need to keep the football yourself. Obviously, you need points and you need to keep the football. Kentucky can't do either this afternoon. The Gator defense just too tough. Keeps turning the ball back over to that fun and gun offense, and those guys put big numbers on the board.
First down for the Wildcats at the 26. O'Farrell throwing on first down. Damon Hood makes the catch. Larry Kennedy makes the tackle at the 30. Pick up a 5.
Damon Hood got over 100 yards rushing for Kentucky last week against Louisville. He was nursing an injury. He was questionable this afternoon. Glad to see that he's healthy enough to play, but he's hardly touched the football out of the backfield in terms of the run.
He strained his knee last week in the game against Louisville, was questionable for today. And has not been used very much by the Wildcats so far. Second down and 6. O'Farrell rolling to his left, and a pass was almost intercepted near the line of scrimmage by Dexter Daniels.
Kevin Carter with a big back pass rush from the backside. A lot of heat there. He almost hit the quarterback O'Farrell late, but he pulled up just at the last moment, but still knocked him down and got his attention.
Daniels had an interception, his first career interception last week against New Mexico State, and almost had his second in week 2. You know, Kentucky's backup quarterback today is Matt Hobby, who is a Sarasota native. I wonder if we'll see Hobby before the end of this ball game. Movement on the Kentucky line. Right side.
Yeah, a lot of talented athletes in the state of Florida going out of the state to play football as well as attend the Big 3 Division I programs here.
5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
That Nebraska team we talked about that replaced the Gators at number 1, led by a young quarterback named Tommy Frazier out of Bradenton. So I would expect Hobby is plenty talented enough to lead this Kentucky attack. It's just a matter of him getting a chance as he's only a freshman.
Right now, the Wildcat offense still in the hands of O'Farrell. And he hands off to Mo Williams, the sophomore. Grinds it out to the 36, stopped by Ben Hanks.
Mo Williams has hardly had a chance to get any momentum going this afternoon, has it? He's really not gotten untracked out of that backfield. He can hardly get past the line of scrimmage before he's hit.
Kentucky comes up short, and this time Bill Curry decides to kick it away. He gambled twice in the first half on 4th and short. Converted one, failed on the other. Nichols to punt it. Palmer waits deep. Beautiful kick by Nicky Nichols. Palmer from the 21. And Dante Key knocks down Sorolla Palmer at about the 36-yard line of the Gators. 43-yard kick by Nichols and a 13-yard return by Palmer. Again, doing a good job on the return.
Nicky Nichols continued to excel as well, punting the football for Kentucky. But here comes Terry Dean. These guys want to put some more points on the scoreboard. Already the advantage 38-7 for Florida.
The Gators have a new tailback. It's Tyrone Baker. As you look at Terry Dean's numbers so far today, has not thrown the ball down the field very much. A lot of his passes have been to running backs, short routes by the receiver. He's going deep this time, and it's for Anthony. Touchdown, Riddell Anthony. Well, just as I was talking about the Gators throwing the ball short all afternoon long, Terry Dean drops back and uncorks one long for Anthony. Freshman from...
Is it Rydell or Riedel?
Riedel Anthony.
Riedel Anthony.
From South Bay. Took his helmet off to make sure everybody got a good look at him.
You're talking about a bomb. This is the big one right here as Terry Dean unleashes the bomb to Riedel Anthony, the young freshman on the post route, outdistances Stephen Hall, who was desperately trying to cover him.
Judd Davis hammers home another extra point, and Florida strikes quick and hard early in the third. They lead 45-7 as the freshman makes his first touchdown catch for the Gators. Florida fans pointing toward the heavens and claiming their team #1. And they look like a #1 team here today against Kentucky.
Yeah, they were taking up the chant after that last bomb. A 45-7 lead over a good Kentucky team. 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Look at that scoring drive there, David.
Not much to that one. Pretty cut and dried. Riedel Anthony, a freshman from Glade Central High School, a true freshman, mind you, not a redshirt, been around a while. He just stepped onto campus and went right to work. Steve Babick on the sideline.
As you mentioned about Tyrone Baker being in that last one play, because Eli Williams on that touchdown run bruised the hand, lost feeling in the hand. So you're going to see the Tyrone Baker or Craig Taylor until Eli Williams can come back. Well, what a play by Riedel Anthony. This crowd is going crazy. You talked about the #1 chant. This crowd's into it.
Clyde Rudolph on the return for Kentucky, and Jason Bartley once again there to make the stop on the Florida special team. Kentucky with the ball trailing now 45-7 with 9 minutes and 54 seconds to go in the third quarter. Wind's kicking up a little bit. Thunderstorms moving a little closer to Florida Field. Late afternoon on Saturday. Gators offside on a kick. Florida's going to kick it again. Offside, they said, on the kick by Shane Edge. Yeah, this Kentucky team, Jim, we talked with some of their people, broadcast people, Ralph Hacker and Jeff Van Note, former NFL standout with the Atlanta Falcons, and they were telling us they thought this Kentucky team has a chance to be a pretty good football team. In fact, broadcaster for the Wildcats said he thinks this Kentucky team is better than last year's Kentucky team.
Well, it's a tough day for him this afternoon, certainly. It'll be interesting to see how Louisville matches up with Texas today. Texas, a top 25 team preseason. Louisville playing Texas today. Louisville losing to Kentucky last week. That'll be an interesting score to look for tomorrow. Get a relative indication of the strength of this Kentucky team.
Well, the strength of this Kentucky, or rather Florida crowd, is documented now officially at 85,238, fourth largest crowd in University of Florida history. Eric Kresser warming up, Danny Warfel, backup quarterbacks for the Gators. May see action soon. Shane Edge kicks it low, and it's Carter out to the 31-yard line.
Oh, a fumble.
And it is picked up. This is a returnable ball. Xavier McCray. Touchdown, Gators. That is a redshirt freshman on the bottom of that stack by the name of Xavier McCray out of Miami. There he is, number 46. Happiest guy in the Sunshine State right now. He scored a touchdown for the University of Florida.
Well, Xavier McCray ought to go buy a lottery ticket before midnight tonight, because he's a lucky young man right there having that ball bounce in his hands like that.
I mean, he's blowing kisses to the crowd. If it hadn't been for that offside call, Kentucky would have had the football.
Yeah. Good point.
Now it's 51-7, and here comes the extra point. Let's look again and see how the ball came loose.
Well, Sam McCorkle, number 20, has been doing an outstanding job in both the games.
Helmet on the ball.
Of the 94 season, and he just knocks the ball away with his helmet. And surprise, surprise, McCray has a touchdown. And he got a little bump in the end zone, too. He doesn't mind the bump. All kinds of trouble for Kentucky. All kinds of good things happening for the Florida Gators right now. Lots of attaboys along the sideline for Xavier McCray.
Xavier McCray, Carroll City High School product in Miami. A track star. He and Kevin Walton, a linebacker on the Gator team, teammates at Carroll City. Highly recruited player.
Freshman, huh?
Redshirt freshman.
How about Sam McCorkle, though? He does a lot of hustling on these specialty teams. He's a junior, 5'9", 180 out of Fort Pierce Central High School. He's really a bullet.
Look at the crowd here today. 85,238.
2 Tennessee games and 2 Florida State games, I think, rank ahead of this crowd.
You know, at some point, you got to wonder when Kentucky, who have fought hard throughout this game, when they start to sort of throw in the towel, how much fight will be left in them. Clyde Rudolph on the return. There's McCorkle at the bottom of the stack. Grabbing Clyde Rudolph. Sam McCorkle on the tackle. And Kentucky's down now 52-7 with 9.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, you see a couple of changes obviously being made now in the Gator defense. There's number 18, Eddie Lakes, on the field. Also number 13, Mike Harris, getting a chance to play at safety.
Wildcat football, and O'Farrell still in the game. The options, Johnny Church had a shot at him, and then 5 or 6 Gator defenders make the tackle near the line of scrimmage. A loss of about a yard at the 25, I think.
Johnny Church, one of those guys that gives the Gators depth in the defensive line. Love to have those fresh legs on the field. See Kevin Freeman there continuing to play well. Kevin Carter.
But they lost a yard, the Wildcats. And it's 2nd and 11. O'Farrell throws it, and Leon Smith with the ball. Smith out to the 33. And the tackle made by Ellis Johnson. David Barnard also in the vicinity. 8:28 to go in the third quarter. It's 52-7 Florida.
Now, in terms of importance, this third down conversion, Kentucky has really had nothing go its way in the second half. If they can just get a couple of first downs, maybe get their poise back a little bit right here. Right now, it's a Gator onslaught that's coming at them.
Kentucky desperately needs a first down. And O'Farrell, I thought he had it, and then with the second effort, he did. Ben Hanks upset with himself right now. Number 11 had a chance to deny the first down, but good second effort by O'Farrell gets Kentucky the first down, and will keep this drive going. Bill Curry has not seen a Kentucky team lose to a Florida team like this.
He's 0-7 against the University of Florida as a head coach.
I don't think he's been beaten this bad.
We talked about the many times that Kentucky has pressed the Gators well into the fourth quarter before losing, but today it's over early.
O'Farrell's pass is high and incomplete. Intended for Sims.
I I think realistically most fans would have expected the Gators to be maybe 3 touchdowns better than Kentucky, but this is a big surprise, obviously, with a 52-7 lead and plenty of time yet to play.
Wildcats with 2 receivers to each side of the field. The pass thrown over the middle to an open spot on the turf. It looked like receiver zigged out when O'Farrell thought he was going to zig in. I think Keo Sanford was the intended receiver.
Now once again a 3rd down opportunity. This time it's 10 yards, much more difficult for O'Farrell. Let's go down to Steve Babick on the sideline. Steve?
Thanks, guys. Earlier, David, you talked about the weather coming in. Lightning over the south end zone. We understand there's a severe thunderstorm warning for East Alachua County. Too close for me, too close here, but there is lightning over the south end zone.
Hey, you love hearing that, don't you, Steve? Pass thrown well, but dropped at the 45-yard line. Intended for Stanford. Beautiful coverage by Anthone Lott. Lawrence Wright. And that Gator defense is held.
Number 4, Lawrence Wright with a big hit. Anthone Lott in coverage. Lawrence Wright celebrating right there that he was able to knock the ball loose.
Well, when you talk about Florida's defense, the word much maligned has come out much too frequently for that group, I think. Riedel Anthony, the freshman who just caught the long touchdown pass, is making the return for the Gators, and he's out of bounds at the 50-yard line. There was a flag thrown back near the line of scrimmage. A 33-yard kick and a 21-yard return by Anthony.
Personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, that was a quick flag. A personal foul almost immediately after the snap of the ball. Either it was a verbal personal foul or somebody is just so darn quick that they're able to commit one upon the snap of the football. Steve Spurrier trying to obtain an explanation from the officials.
I think he said, what'd he do? What'd he do? And whatever it was flagrant. So Kentucky continues to have the ball just inside midfield.
O'Farrell dumps it to Carter. Junior college transfer on a screen pass is out of bounds at the 36-yard line of the Gators. Kevin Freeman on the stop. And that should be good for another Kentucky first down. 6:53 to go in the 3rd quarter. Damon Carter in the Kentucky backfield now, number 29. Put up some incredible numbers at the City College of San Francisco. In fact, is the all-time leading ball carrier. He's number 29. Lone setback behind O'Farrell, or alongside O'Farrell, I should say. O'Farrell moving right. I think the man moved early on the offensive line. The left guard appeared to move early as Ellis Johnson makes the tackle on the play.
Well, the game's getting really ragged right now. Obviously, it's out of reach of Kentucky.
False start offense, 5-yard penalty.
A lot of ragged play going on right now as Kentucky desperately tries to do something that will allow them to put points on the board, and the Gator defense playing very recklessly, as well they can afford to.
Florida's defense has held Kentucky to only 7 points today. Less than 200 total yards. First down and 15 for the Wildcats. Woodford is the fullback now in the backfield with O'Farrell. Kevin Freeman. Freeman and Daniels, the two linebackers, inside backers for the Gators, have been very active today. Look at Freeman here.
This is a design rollout to the left, but what they didn't anticipate was Kevin Freeman coming up so quickly from his linebacker position to make the tackle. That play was designed as a rollout to the left to give him more time, but O'Farrell had less time as it worked out.
Ran right into Freeman. 2nd and 20. Oh, the pass incomplete.
No, it's intercepted.
Or was it picked off?
No, did he get it? Who was that? Kevin Carter saying he got it? No, I guess not. He had a chance. It looked like it bounced right near him in the pile.
Up into the air. Mark Campbell blindsided O'Farrell.
Oh, he did, didn't he? That's the unprotected side, obviously, the blind side of the quarterback, a right-handed quarterback. Got hit in the back as he, just before he released the football. Nice hat.
Fashionable headgear at Florida Field.
Here's that lick, David. After he released the ball. Now let's watch the interception attempt. He's trying to wrestle it. Loose.
3rd and 20. Incomplete. Intended for Smith. A lot of blue shirts back there to protect against the pass for the Gators. And O'Farrell dejectedly walks toward the Kentucky sideline with his team trailing 52-7. 5:24 to play in the 3rd quarter.
Now, in this kind of situation, multiple defensive backs on the field to stop just such a play, and they're doing a nice job in coverage. Kentucky really unable to get it done.
Nichols punting for the 6th time today. Grounds it into the end zone. Florida takes over at its own 20. That'll help the average out, but the Gators get decent field position on the kick that goes through the end zone. There's the score. Florida all over Kentucky here at Florida Field today. And they're all over Kentucky here in the 3rd quarter, 52-7 with 5:14 to go in the 3rd. Down to the sideline now, and Steve Babbitt.
Guys, Larry Kennedy's had a great game on defense, but was not in their last defensive series. He was out with cramps, and they're trying to stretch him out, so Larry Kennedy out right now. And also, on that last personal foul during the punt when Kentucky got the 15 yards in the 1st down, they called Kedra Malone for elbowing. It's just football, isn't it? That was the call. Kedra Malone with an elbow, and that was the 15-yard personal foul penalty.
Well, at least he didn't get called for a flagrant foul. That would have been 2 free throws, and Kentucky keeps possession of the ball. Danny Warfel checks in for the Gators. Big day for Terry Dean again. Warfel making his first appearance on the field here today. Sophomore quarterback from Fort Walton Beach. Hands off on 1st down to Fred Taylor. And Taylor carries the pile with him out to the 23. Warfel last week played the 3rd quarter against New Mexico State. He completed 6 out of 9 for 42 yards. Danny Warfel, though, one of the top young quarterbacks in the country, and can't start for the Florida Gators.
Set the school record in total passing offense against Mississippi State last year.
Jerome Evans is the fullback. Number 34 moves in motion. And the ball play again to Fred Taylor. Running behind and big offensive line. Sean Nunn, the tight end, with the lead block. Taylor is out near the 1st down after Melvin Johnson makes the tackle.
Well, the line's still big, but there's some new bodies out there. P.J. Harrison, a junior, 6'6", 296. He's in there. Eric Johnson, the freshman, 6'6", 297.
It's 3rd and 1. Kentucky had good penetration. One of the few times today that Kentucky's front 4 has been in the backfield when the ball was handed off, and I'm not sure that Taylor made a 1st down or not.
Well, that's not going to please Coach Spurrier, the fact that they weren't able to pick up that short yardage play.
Kevin Johnson limps off the field. Chris Ward got into that Florida backfield in a hurry. It's 4th and less than a yard, and Florida's going to keep the ball. David Swain trotting on to snap it for the Gators. 4th down and inches, and the Gators going to go for it. Warfel keeps it and sneaks it for the 1st down. Steve Spurrier's bread and butter 4th and short play.
Warfel for 1st down.
Now, Danny Werfel certainly didn't want to come off the field so quickly right there. That's a big beef we were talking about. Some new guys out there in that offensive line.
77's Eric Johnson, 6'6", 297 freshman. Tackle from Pace, Florida. He played 20 plays last week against New Mexico State. Play is stopped.
Now they're a bit shaky, even though they have the huge lead. That's one of the few times they get on Florida field, although Dean Golden.
False start. Offense, 5-yard penalty.
Golden's a leader out there, but...
yeah, Golden is 17 starts in his Florida career, senior. But Collins is a true freshman, 79. Eric Johnson, 77, a redshirt freshman who played his first football last week against New Mexico State. The center was Kevin Johnson, but Swain is back.
And P.J. Harrison, we mentioned in at right tackle, number 69. He's a freshman.
Riddell Anthony and Ike Hilliard, a pair of true freshmen, are the wide receivers left and right. Werfel play fakes and throws it, and the pass is deflected and incomplete. Stephen Hall got a piece of it. Fans over there complaining about a pass interference, but once that pass is deflected, it's fair game. And there is a flag back in the area of the Florida quarterback, and we might have a late hit on Kentucky in that area. Either that or a hold against the Gators. They're talking to the Wildcats, so it looks like it'll go against Florida again.
A very sloppy drive right here.
Holding, offense, half the distance, repeat first down.
Now you see at the top of your screen the Hulk Hogan takedown used by P.J. Harrison. I said he was a freshman. He's really a junior, but he's been watching Hulk Hogan on pay-per-view, obviously, on some of those mega wrestling events. Use the takedown right there. You can't do that.
Thought you got extra points for that. Wrong sport, huh? Werfel, a swing pass to Fred Taylor.
Oh, nice little dip and do.
Taylor out to the 14. Gain of 6. Second down and long. George Harris on the stop with Robert Stinson.
Vertical pass. Taylor. Ward.
Second down and long for the Gators. Time winding down in the third quarter. Travis McGriff brings the play call in from the Gators sideline, making his first appearance on the field today. Travis made a couple of catches last week.
We got 3 freshmen in trip formation on the right side, I think, right now.
Hilliard, Anthony, and McGriff. The handoff goes to another freshman, Taylor. Taylor squirms out to the 15. A 1-yard pickup, and it'll be third down and long. Crowd's a little uneasy now. The team leads 52-7, but the offense is sputtering, and they're not used to it.
Tough crowd, huh?
Tough crowd.
Rodney Dangerfield would...
Now 4 receivers on third down and almost 30. Everybody's out on pass route. Doring's open. Couldn't hold on at the 45. Would have been a great catch and a first down. Melvin Johnson just drilled him.
He's not knocked out. He might be knocked out. He's not moving. Might have hit him in the head and stunned him.
I think Johnson hit him in the head. He clubbed him with a knee, maybe. And Chris Doring is not moving.
Helmet to helmet. Knocked him out. Look.
He's down for the 10 count.
Yeah, he'll be okay. Just stunned. That's scary, I know, but that headgear will protect the young man in those situations. Trying to wake him up right now.
Chris Doring, the young man who made the sensational play along with Danny Werfel. That combination clicked to win the game last year in the last 3 seconds up in Lexington, and Kentucky trying to pay him back a little bit here, maybe. Melvin Johnson, an aggressive, good football player there to keep Doring from making the catch. You know, that Kentucky game last year was a real watershed game in a number of ways for the Gators. They staged that miraculous comeback and really turns the season so that they can win the SEC championship. Doering, who you're looking at right here, becomes a Gator celebrity forever as the guy that caught a pass in the final seconds to pull a victory from the jaws of defeat. Terry Dean is supplanted by Danny Warfel as the starting quarterback. That game last year just had so many important elements to it.
Obviously taught the Gators they could come back against a deficit to win a ball game.
Edge grabs that low snap, drives it deep. Sanford goes down at the 35-yard line. Kedra Malone with a big play. Malone shaken up a little bit. 45-yard kick and a -2 return.
Super job by Shane Edge. Better job by Kedra Malone. Kedra comes under control right there with all that speed. He broke down, came under control so he could make the hit just as the ball got there. And Kentucky now continues to fight the uphill battle.
Man Hobby now is the quarterback for Kentucky. With 13 seconds to go in the third.
Young man out of Sarasota that you talked about earlier.
Left-handed player and can't run fast enough to get away from Kevin Carter. He's got good speed, but not enough to get away from the big defensive end out of Tallahassee. Carter, 6'6", 271. Runs very well. That's his 11th career quarterback sack.
Well, this bootleg action is supposed to invite Kevin Carter inside, but he was outside all the time. Stays out there as Hobby runs right into him.
That was a
sack.
That was a free play, Jim. They never started the clock. 13 seconds still up on the board. No time elapsed. Hobby wishes it never happened. And Hobby scrambling for his life, and a handbrake brings him down at the 30-yard line. Now that play shouldn't have even been run. The clock still hasn't moved, and they've snapped the ball twice.
I don't know that the officials on the field realize that there's a problem with the clock. Yeah, they did. They're right on top of it.
All right, so the officials make the compensation required, and that is the end of the third quarter. 52-7 after 3 periods of play. Florida ranked number 2 in the country, showing why. 15 minutes of football to go. And it'll be Kentucky's ball as we start the 4th period. Let's go down on the sideline to Steve Babbitt.
Well, on that play with Chris Doering, he got knocked out a little bit. They had the smelling salts out there, and they've got the aspag on the back of the neck, and he's okay now. But he got the bell rung pretty good. And as Chris Bilkey put it, a free light show. Well, these guys down here are tough on each other. A free light show? I thought Chris was a little bit more worried than that, but Chris Doering is okay.
Smile on his face, but an ache in his head. Chris Doering sitting along the sideline at Florida Field.
He's asking the guys, did I catch it? Did I score? What happened?
Where are we?
Where
am I?
All those things.
We have a delay because we have a problem with the clock. Time is just winding down unbelievably fast here in the 4th. No, the clock is not working properly, and the officials are going to keep the time on the field, the official time. Pay no attention to the number on the scoreboard. Man Hobby, the quarterback, the redshirt freshman from Sarasota, out of Sarasota High School, out of the shotgun formation. He throws it, and it should have been caught, but instead it's intercepted. Fred Weary on the interception on the deflected pass, which was intended for Jabron Farah.
Fred Weary, another freshman out of Jacksonville. We talked about him a little earlier this afternoon. This time Weary comes up with a great reaction on the interception. Hobby does a nice job delivering the football. Hobby's bounced around a little bit. That's normal in the backfield. Oh, the ball's just a little bit out of the reach of Tony George. No, excuse me, that was Gibran Farah.
Warfel throwing on first down, intending the ball for the tight end Sean Nunn, and the pass is incomplete. Fred Waring, first career interception, only the second game that he's played in. Well, he scores, or rather gets an interception. Freshman Xavier McCray scores a touchdown. A lot of Gators again getting a chance to play at Florida Field. Second down and 10, Danny Werfel. This pass is caught by Sean Nunn. Nunn with about a 9-yard pickup to around the 36-yard line. Chan Hudson made the tackle for the Wildcats. It'll be second down and a long yard for the Gators.
Well, that's the first time the tight ends caught a pass in the '94 season. Nunn's glad to get this extra opportunity.
The Gators send McGriff and Anthony wide to the right, Hilliard wide to the left. Taylor, the only running back. And it is Taylor. And Taylor has the first down for the Gators.
Taylor carries for the first down.
That'll stop the clock momentarily while the Gators move the chains up the field. They lead Kentucky 52-7, week number 2. Florida slipped down to the #1 spot nationally. But they're making a strong case for themselves this week against Kentucky. Warfel, a short drop, plays throw and catch with Anthony, and Riddell Anthony, who caught a touchdown bomb from Terry Dean earlier in the second half, has the ball down to the 25. Reggie Rusk on the stop for Kentucky.
Anthony comes off limping right there. Aubrey Hill hustles onto the field.
Hill and McGriff split wide left. Hilliard wide to the right. Hilliard, number 19, caught 2 touchdown passes last week against New Mexico State. Kentucky coming with a blitz. Hilliard's got the ball. Hilliard breaks free. Hilliard scores for the Gators. And look at that move. He's got as many moves in the end zone as he does coming up the field with the ball in his arm.
Now Danny Werfel has multiple choices as he checks off at the line of scrimmage. Werfel takes a lot of time deciding which of these receivers he wants to be hot. He decides it's Hilliard. Look at that balance right there as he failed to go down with the arm tackle, then turns on the Jets. Excellent speed, obviously, and there's the emotion that you talked about as he celebrates in the end zone.
I don't know. The kick by Davis is good. It is 59-7. We'll be back at Florida Field.
Cast is brought to you by Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. By Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet dealers. And by Cellular One, the first and only with digital phone service. Cellular One, you heard it here first.
It took Warfel to Doring last year to pull out a miracle win in Lexington, but this year it's been all Gators. 5 plays, 45 yards, the most recent Florida touchdown drive. Warfel to Hilliard. And the freshman now has 3 touchdown catches in 2 weeks on campus in this young 1994 season. 12 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. It is 59-7 Florida. Damon Carter from 1 yard deep. Carter down at the 15-yard line, and the hit made once again by Anthony Riggins.
That's great coverage. Inside the 15, around the 15, that's an excellent job. These specialty teams continue to hustle. Anthony Riggins, we talked about McCorkle earlier. Riggins also doing a wonderful job on these coverage teams. Both out of Fort Pierce.
Last year, Kentucky was dead last in the Southeastern Conference in kick returns and punt returns. And it looks like they've still got some work to do. Freshman quarterback Matt Hobby, tremendous athlete. This guy, Jim, has a 38-inch vertical leap. He was a 6th-round draft choice by the Cleveland Indians coming out of Sarasota High School in baseball. And capable of being sacked by the Florida defense at any given moment. Cameron Davis with the QB sack back to the 10-yard line. Davis had a sack last week against New Mexico State, so that's his 2nd of the year.
Look at the top of your screen. Cameron Davis quickly with the swim move, arm over.
And that's Kentucky's most experienced offensive lineman, and he slipped past Mark Askins.
That's a
right tackle.
Senior offensive tackle.
The draw play to Carter. Carter out to the 14-yard line. Rain coming down at Florida Field early in the 4th period. A lot of people have left, but really surprising numbers stay in the stadium, Jim, to watch what could be the #1 football team in the nation again. I think they're going to get an awful lot of votes. Nebraska was not especially impressive on Thursday night against Texas Tech, and Florida has been so impressive today.
What was the score? Do you recall in that one? Was it?
Maybe I don't recall the exact score, but about a 2-touchdown win, 17 points maybe.
Of course, it is an honor, and the fans here believe it's an honor too, so they're going to sit in this rain and watch.
Right through the hands of Carter. Hobby threw the ball a little bit high, but that's the 2nd pass that he's thrown catchable that his receivers haven't held on to.
And one of the things about this team is that the Gator team's so exciting.
You don't want to leave.
You don't want to leave. You want to watch. Even the 3rd team wide receiver can generate some incredible excitement.
The Gators up by 52. It's raining cats and dogs. It's the 4th quarter, and there's still 50,000, 60,000 people in this stadium. Riddell Anthony, an exciting player, this time returns the kick back to the 38-yard line, and again the Gators have great field position. 34-yard kick and a 9-yard return. Steve Spurrier goes 3 deep on a quarterback chart. Eric Kresser will handle the Florida offensive attack now. Kresser, the sophomore from Palm Beach Gardens. He and Werfel, sophomore quarterbacks. Terry Dean, the starter, is a senior. Kresser last week 3 for 6, a touchdown, 51 yards. And now he'll get a chance to direct the Florida offense. The Gators, they're not going to be throwing deep here, Jim. I think they'll keep it fairly conservative, but just like the last time they had the ball, they threw a short pass to Anthony, or rather Hilliard, and he turned it into a big play for a touchdown. Players like Florida have are capable of doing that at any time. We'll be back from Florida Field. 10 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Eric Kresser on a pitch to Tyrone Baker. Baker gets his first call as a Gator. Down to the 31-yard line. Tyrone Baker. Local product from right here in Gainesville. New Sport, local sports, national scores. New Sport programming coupled with Sports Channel Florida's in-state sports coverage gives the viewer the most comprehensive, entertaining, timely sports news and event programming on a 24-hour basis. New Sport has all the fast-breaking stories, scores, and highlights, and it is exclusively on Sports Channel.
You know, this Tyrone Baker was battling Elijah Williams for a tailback starting assignment before Fred Taylor came in as a true freshman. We see that incompletion there, but this kid's got a lot of talent too. He's just not had the opportunity. You'll recall he was a bit injured last week.
Terrific speed, good moves. We'll get a good look at him here in the 4th quarter. Let's go down on the field. Steve Babick.
Dwayne Dixon this year on the sidelines, the wide receiver coach. You could see him holding up a card during the game with a number on it. It's not the play. It's simply the number of the player that they want to come out. They alternate receivers so much. If he shows up number 19, that means, Ike, you're out, and somebody else is going in. They reviewed it over the summertime and felt they could just help expedite things if they could do this and maybe take away some of those delayed game calls they got last year. So that's all it is. Not a play, just a number of who's coming out. In fact, if you're a player in the huddle, you probably don't want to see that card.
I'm sure that's true. You'd like to be on that field as much as possible You got radios and helmets and computer age, and Florida's flashing cards up to get players on and off the field. Eric Kresser. And this time McGriff holds onto the ball at the 15-yard line. Travis McGriff, the son of Lee, former All-Southeastern Conference receiver, and Travis wearing his dad's number. Eric Kresser, good-looking quarterback, isn't he, Jim?
Yeah, Eric Kresser really has a zip on the football, and that's a bullet on the sideline route right there. McGriff disappointed that he couldn't get more yardage down the sideline.
Ball at the 15. And on first down, Tyrone Baker is knocked behind the line and taken down by Mike Schlegel, junior from Hanrahan, Louisiana.
Tough day for those guys up front for Kentucky. Gators just dominating at the line of scrimmage. Everything going the way of the orange and blue this afternoon.
Baker must look at what Elijah Williams is doing and thinking to himself, if not for a sprained ankle, that could be me. Because he was neck and neck with Williams, as you mentioned, in the preseason.
Of course, Fred Taylor coming in as a true freshman made a quick impression, and he's obviously getting his chances.
Kresser will throw. Intended for Baker. And the play broken up by linebacker James Tucker. Serious clock problems in the fourth quarter. The main scoreboard clock is malfunctioning, and now the 25-second play clock is also malfunctioning.
Gators approaching 500 yards in total offense right now as a timeout's called.
And Florida outgaining Kentucky, almost 500 for the Gators and less than 200 yards in total offense for the Kentucky Wildcats. Florida leads it by 52 at home in week number 2 Southeastern Conference opener between the Gators and Wildcats. Florida has been in this part of the field just about all day long, it seems. They're at the Kentucky 15, and the second-ranked Gators lead the Wildcats 59-7. There's the official offensive numbers to this point.
Unofficially, the Gators are around that 60% completion mark, too, with their passing game. Not only do they put up such big numbers, but they're so efficient with this passing game. Then the tailbacks have put up big numbers, too, as they rush the football.
Well, the scoreboard clock now shows 72 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the game. But we've been told that the correct time is 7 minutes and 26 seconds. They're trying to get there. It's been a long enough day, I'm sure, for that Kentucky football team. It seems like the day that wouldn't end, I'm sure, for them. Tyrone Baker in motion. Kresser throwing for the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown, Florida. Paul Bowen on the receiving end of the Eric Kresser pass. Bowen, his first career catch, I believe, unless he got one last week, out of Altamont Springs, Lake Brantley High School. And the Gators tack on 6 more.
Paul Bowen wasn't on my roster. That's how deep they've gone into the wide receiver corps, but he coolly catches the ball from Eric Kresser right between the 8 and the 1, and he says, hey, I've seen the other guys celebrate. I know how to do this.
Got to work on his end zone moves, though. Got to talk to Ike Hilliard, get that last move that Hilliard put on after the touchdown catch. It is 65-7. And there's life for the team losing by 58. That's Reggie Rusk back in the end zone. Bowen said, yeah, no problem. If you guys would throw it to me more often, get me in the game, I'd be doing that every week. Here's a note for you.
I saw his high school play last night. Lake Brantley, they run the wishbone, so he didn't catch too many passes in high
didn't
school.
throw too many his way. A note for you, Jim. Florida, for the first time in school history, has scored 60 points or better 2 weeks in a row. 70 last week against New Mexico State, now 65 against a quality Southeastern Conference opponent. There's still 7 minutes to go in the ballgame. Shane Edge with a hold. Judd Davis kicks it through, and Florida leads 66-7. And Bowen conferring with Doring on the sideline.
Yeah, now he's talking touchdown talk, you know. He's saying, well, when I caught my touchdown, Chris.
So, Chris, we both had touchdown catches against Kentucky, right?
Good for him, huh?
Yeah. Yards, 6 plays, set up by a short punt and a good return by the Gators, and Eric Kresser's second touchdown pass of the season, rather, giving Florida the lead. Paul Bowen on the receiving end. 66-7 to score. The crowd, those that are left in the stadium, cheering wildly as a score flashed on the screen, showed Michigan over Notre Dame earlier today.
Notre Dame ahead of Michigan in the preseason polls, but obviously that one loss will take them out of consideration for a national championship.
Damon Carter out to the 27 or 28-yard line. The broadcast rights to today's telecast have been granted to Sports Channel Florida by the University of Florida solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of this program without the express written consent of Sports Channel Florida is prohibited. Did you say that the loss to Michigan would knock Notre Dame out of the national championship?
Yeah, you can't win a national championship with one loss, can you?
If you're Notre Dame, you might.
Can you?
I don't know.
Well, I guess and assuming no one goes undefeated, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's true. Hobby completes one to Isaac Curtis out to the 35-yard line, rather. That's Hobby's first completion, isn't it?
Yeah, he didn't have much of an opportunity on the last drive. He was under a lot of pressure. He could be the kid of the future, the quarterback of the future at Kentucky. Obviously, just a freshman. A lot of talent.
And he throws, and Rudolph drops this one. That's the third pass that Kentucky receivers have dropped. And that one was right on the numbers. Man, Hobby does not have the classic size for a quarterback. But he certainly has a lot of talent, a lot of athletic ability. Could be a good one. James Bates, frequently injured through his football career at Florida. Dan, a former assistant coach for the Gators, assistant coach in the NFL now. There's an incomplete pass, intended for Keo Sanford.
Ronnie Battle.
Ronnie Battle, good play. Battle's been battling the flu this week.
It's a freshman out of Fort Myers. Only 5'8", 166. That's a big pop right there. 3 and out. The Gators get the ball back.
Well, you wonder if Florida's not now trying to send a message to the country about that #1 ranking. Riddell Anthony, the freshman, out of bounds at the 46-yard line. 37-yard kick, 13-yard return. On their last possession, Jim, the Gators threw the ball into the end zone from out around the 20-25-yard line. And
Well, it is their third team, too, on the field.
But Steve Spurrier always says, you know, I'm not going to tell those guys not to play football. They're going to get a chance to play just like the first stringers do when we put them in the game.
Give them the same plays and see what happens.
Brian Schottenheimer now quarterbacking the Gator offense. Last week, 2 out of 4. Threw a touchdown pass. Tyrone Baker. He is explosive, and Baker to the 37-yard line of Kentucky. Wildcat defense just simply worn out right now. George Harris made the tackle. And that clock can't run fast enough for them.
Does a nice trap up front. Also blocking by Jerome Evans now, out of Arcadia. Right, Jerome.
Jim Yarbrough's hometown.
Rings a bell, huh?
DeSoto High School, right?
Yep. Way to go, Jerome.
Tyrone Baker running in behind P.J. Harrison. About a 5-yard pickup. Florida making a solid claim at the #1 spot 2 weeks into the college football season. 70-21 a week ago against New Mexico State, and here they lead Kentucky 66-7.
Of course, a big battle in that Eastern Division of the Southeastern Conference tonight as Tennessee invades Athens to face the Georgia Bulldogs. That's the division, obviously, that the Gators are in, the Eastern Division in the SEC, so that could be a big battle to watch.
Big early season SEC game, and then next week, of course, the Gators will be in Knoxville to take on those Volunteers who had a tough early season schedule, Jim, with UCLA on the road to open up, then back on the road against Georgia in week 2, and then come home finally to face what could be the #1 team in the country next week, the University of Florida.
Yeah, I really salute Tennessee. They've established a great tradition of playing UCLA quite often over the last 20 years, and that's a great intersectional matchup to watch. UCLA got the best of them for 3 quarters quite easily last week, but Tennessee came back, made a game of it.
Found a quarterback, I think, in Todd Helton in the 4th quarter. Scored 23 points, did Tennessee, in the 4th quarter last week, and almost pulled out that game. Florida has called timeout as Schottenheimer discusses things in the huddle with his teammates. And let's go down on the field to Steve Babbitt.
Well, David and Jim, I like our starting rotation of Terry Dean, Danny Warfel, Eric Kresser, and Brian Schottenheimer. All we need now is a closer, and we're set.
That's deep.
Is there one? Is there a 5th teamer on the roster? I doubt it, huh? They probably only go 4 deep.
That's a pretty deep staff right there. They can all play.
Let's get our research department to look. Is there a 5th team quarterback?
Well, our Gator expert in the production truck, Phil Welton, says Shane Edge would be the emergency quarterback. That might be right on target.
I don't see anybody else listed at QB. So Shane Edge it is.
Third down and 2 for Florida. Inside Kentucky territory once again. I don't think have ever scored this many points against an SEC team. 66-7 right here, with a chance to get even more. And this might be the biggest win for a Florida team ever against an SEC opponent. And remember, Kentucky was expected to be a pretty good football team this year. Tyrone Baker picks up a first down and stops the clock as well. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Littleton Ward made the tackle. Florida's got plenty of time left, in the vicinity of 4 minutes to play in the game.
Looks like this horse is going to the barn, doesn't it? Yep. I don't know if they can stop this.
Schottenheimer. Hands off to Baker again. Baker running right up the middle, inside the 15, and down to about the 13-yard line.
Just under 4 minutes now. Gators not far from that end zone again. 3 and 4 deep right now on the field in that offensive unit.
And they have been for most of the second half. Tyrone Baker, what was that, 50 yards almost? Smiling Jeremy Foley, the athletic director for the Gators. Got to be enjoying what he's seen today. Baker. Tackled by Harris, but good for a first down at the 6-yard line. It'll be first down and goal with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the football game. The Gators led 31-7 at the end of the first half and have never been challenged against Kentucky today. Ryan Schottenheimer. Will hand off to Tyrone Baker again. And a flag goes down as Baker squirts inside the 5 to around the 3. Referee Bill Goss has been a busy man today. He's got another order of business. He's talking it over with the Kentucky people, it looks like. Now it's going to go against Kentucky, it appears. No. Check that again. Holding against the Gators.
10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Look at those offensive numbers for the Florida Gators today, Jim.
Coach Steve Spurrier takes a lot of pride in saying that his fun and gun offense is balanced. When he's recruiting tailbacks, he says, hey, we run the football a lot. Don't be fooled. You know, we have an excellent balance in our attack. And, boy, today they're right on target, aren't they? I think really since he's been here, it's been about 52% pass, 48% run.
Baker, touchdown. And everybody in the stadium, including Kentucky's defense, knows the ball is going to go to Tyrone Baker, pretty much. They're just too worn out to stop him. And there's a Kentucky player hurt on the field as the Gators go over the 70-point mark for the second week in a row.
You said that because obviously the Gators are not putting the ball in the air at this point, and even so, giving the ball to the tailback, that third unit offensive line opens a gaping hole, and there's some celebration continuing in Gatordom.
Well, this is an eye-opening performance by Florida today. This is not New Mexico State or Arkansas State. This is a Southeastern Conference team that last year won 6 games, played in the Peach Bowl. The injured player for Kentucky, I think, is Robert Stinson. Number 94, Stinson is hurt. And it would be a real shame for a quality player like Stinson to get hurt in this situation. His team down by 60 points. With 2.5 minutes to go, I hope Stinson's injury is not severe.
He's a senior, too. That'll be a really tough break. They were just continuing to have their front-line guys out there. They didn't want to be embarrassed any more than they have been this afternoon, but it didn't work, and the Gators just continue to roll. Hopefully Stinson will be all right.
Yeah, you don't like to see that. But Judd Davis has a chance to do something he may never get a chance to do again. That's set his own record, which he set 1 week ago for 10 extra points in a game. And he does. 10 for 10 extra points for Judd Davis. Back-to-back weeks. And it is 73-7. Florida amazing against Kentucky. What can you say?
53 yards. Tyrone Baker on the 15-yard run. There's nothing to say, really. It's an unbelievable performance. Kentucky, what's that country western song? Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Well, today the Gators were the windshield and Kentucky was the bug.
14 touchdowns in 2 weeks for Florida's offense. And the Fighting Gators will tackle the Tennessee Volunteers next weekend, Saturday, September 17th, 11:30 p.m. Sports Channel will be right there to bring you all the excitement from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. Catch all the action on Sports Channel. Check your local listings for Sports Channel and Gator Vision coverage in your area. Damon Carter on the return. Carter out to the 24. Again, Kentucky's offense stays pretty much bottled up on one end of the field. This has been a slaughter on the football field in Gainesville. 73-7. Here comes our 7th quarterback, Billy Jack Haskins, on the field for the Kentucky Wildcats.
He's a freshman also.
Haskins pitches to Carter. And down he goes after a gain of a couple of yards, moving toward the 2-minute mark in the football game. Scott Perry was in on the tackle for Florida, number 93. McDonald Ferguson, Scott Perry along that defensive front line. Kentucky 2nd down and 7. And once again, Perry makes the stop on Carter at the 31-yard line. Last year, Kentucky lost a heartbreaker to Florida on a last-second play and had trouble recovering the next week against Indiana. They play Indiana again on the heels of a Florida game this year. And I wonder how this game will affect their performance next week. Last year's game certainly had an adverse effect on them. I think they were shocked that they lost that game. They thought they had it won. This week they could be trying to just pick themselves up after this devastation. Haskins throws behind the intended receiver, the tight end, Aaron Clark. And it'll be 3rd down for the Wildcats. Or 4th down, rather.
As I looked at Bill Curry, I now remember why I didn't want to get into coaching. Although Steve Spurrier certainly makes it look easy. He'll have a great week with his ball club as they get ready to go to Tennessee for a huge battle. But Bill Curry has got a major psychological battle to fight with his ball club.
Spurrier's probably thinking right now, what am I going to say to Bill Curry in midfield?
Not much.
What do you say? Nicky Nichols back to punt again, and Ike Hilliard, the deep man for the Gators this time. Less than a minute left. Steve Spurrier not totally pleased with last week's game. I think the opponent, Steve Spurrier, just wasn't too sure about New Mexico State and what that 70-point performance meant against a ball club like the Aggies. But he knows the quality of the University of Kentucky football program. So, Jim, don't you suspect that he's a little more satisfied this week?
Well, and I think he's a bit shocked, too, as all of us are, that this thing got to this point. He certainly expected his team to win and hoped that they could dominate, but this was obviously something no one expected.
And to be fair about it, the offense only scored 67 points. 7 of those points were scored by the defense. Ball is down at the 35-yard line. And Steve Babick will quarterback the Gators. No, it's still Schottenheimer. I thought Babick might be the 5th man. Kentucky having trouble getting a man on the field, and the Wildcats have to use a timeout with 48 seconds to go. Adding insult to injury, the Wildcats stopped the clock at 73-70. And there's Chris Ward, who is the guy who couldn't get off the field and precipitated the timeout call. Well, Florida with back-to-back road games in the SEC coming up, and will be tested next week against Tennessee, and in the following week and Ole Miss, or 2 weeks rather. There's an open date in between. But the Ole Miss game is not going to be a cakewalk. They gave Auburn fits in week 1. Hand off to Jerome Evans. And the Arcadia native gets a couple of yards on first down.
Yeah, we're mercifully running down the clock right now to 29. I think that's going to be it for the ball game. Probably the last play. Nope.
One more snap. After this victory, the Gators under Steve Spurrier, Tyrone Baker on the carry. And that will be the final play. Florida going to win it 73-7. The final score, the Gators trying to make a statement that perhaps they should not have lost that #1 ranking. After a 70-21 win against New Mexico State, they go one up and beat Kentucky even worse, 73-7 in week number 2. Steve Spurrier now 25-1 here at the Swamp since taking over the head coaching reins in 1990. We'll be back to talk with the head coach of the Florida Gators after this.
The Gators victorious against Kentucky, 73-7. Welcome back on Sports Channel. Steve Babick now with the head coach, Steve Spurrier. Coach, great overall team effort, both sides of the football.
Well, really proud. Our team was ready to play. Defense was flying around, hitting guys. Offensively, we were hustling, blocking. The offensive line had one of the best games we've had here. But I hate to see the score get out of line like this. Sometimes you can lull yourself to sleep thinking you're a lot better than you are. So we've got to regroup and get ready to go to Tennessee and not think we're the greatest in the world right now.
Rushing game very on today. In fact, more rushing yardage than passing yardage.
Right, Elijah, Fred Taylor, and then, of course, Tyrone Baker coming in there. But the line blocked well also. It was a combination of all of that and a good passing game also.
And, Coach, before I let you go, the defense, one bad play, but they really shut them down, didn't they?
Defense was ready to play, played super. Lawrence missed a check. He thought he had a free safety back there, and he was all by himself covering that guy. So hopefully we can get better coordinated back there a little bit.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. Again, the Gators victorious by a 73-7 score over the Kentucky Wildcats. And David and Jim, it's next week with Tennessee.
That's right, Steve. That will be a very big one, and it's very clear, Jim Yarbrough, that Steve Spurrier's theme this week, getting ready for Tennessee, will be one of making sure his team does not get overconfident after 143 points in 2 games.
Well, we talked about in the pregame that comeback victory over Kentucky last year being an aberration with the 7 interceptions in that game. This thing was unpredictable, too. Who would imagine the Gators would steamroll Kentucky like this? But he'll certainly be talking about being 0 for 2 since he's returned to Florida going to Knoxville, and big Eastern Division battle against the Volunteers. And the Gators will be pointing more towards what they can do against Tennessee than what they've done against Kentucky.
Well, for the second straight week, the Gators score 70 points or better for the second straight week. Their yardage figure is about 600 yards. Very impressive, and the Gators make a strong bid for that #1 ranking once again this week. Next week, it's the Florida Gators against the Tennessee Volunteers. And be sure to join Sports Channel for more Gator football action Saturday, September 17th at 11:30 p.m. The Gators travel on Tennessee to tackle on the Tennessee Volunteers at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. See all the action right here on Sports Channel. Check your local listings for Sports Channel or Gator Vision coverage in your area. For Jim Yarbrough, I'm David Steele. Again, the final score, the Gators 73 and the Kentucky Wildcats 7. So long, everybody.
WCJB TV 20, Gainesville, Lake City, Ocala. This concludes our broadcast day. WCJB TV 20 in Gainesville, Florida is licensed by the Federal Communications Commission to operate on Channel 20 at an effective radiated power of 2.8 million watts. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.
ABC's Monday Night Football. Downstairs to Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, Robert Stinson, who just was carried off the field a moment ago, the defensive tackle for Kentucky, looks like good news. It looked bad initially, but it's a hyperextended left knee. Should not be that serious.
The pass incomplete from Haskin. The freshman firing incomplete. Intended for Darren Clark.
Looked like Clark just tripped over his own feet. Fell down before he could get to the pass. It's been a tough day for Kentucky. I'll tell you this, though. I'm leaving this stadium awfully impressed with the Gators.
We mentioned Kentucky next week takes on Indiana at home. Florida with a big game next week. We're giving them the win here today. Then they play at Tennessee next week.
Yeah, now the Gators schedule, despite 7 home games, includes trips to Florida State and Tennessee. And in Spurrier's tenure, the Gators are 0-4 and outscored 166-71 against Florida State and Tennessee on the road.
And they play Florida State November 26th. And here's a look at Kentucky's remaining schedule. I mentioned Indiana at home next week.
See, now their schedule is front-loaded with Louisville and Florida and Auburn all in the first 5 weeks.
Not a lot of gimmies in the SEC. No cupcakes on the schedule.
No, it's going to take them a while to recover from this, I'll guarantee you.
Nicholson punting from his 16-yard line. This is his 9th punt today. Mike Hilliard is standing on the 32. And it is down to the 35-yard line. We have less than a minute to play now in Gainesville, Florida. The Gators leading the Wildcats 73-7.
This one was over early, folks. And the fans have been partying ever since. They love their football in Gainesville.
They sure do. Schottenheimer, the quarterback. And we have a timeout on the field.
See, now, it was a player getting late on the field, coming on late on the field for Kentucky, and that's the kind of thing that'll just drive Bill Curry nuts. He's not going to put up with that. Guys aren't paying attention or hanging their heads.
Bill Curry in his 5th year at Kentucky feels that the program is just a little bit away from where he wants it to be in the big picture. Alabama defeating Vandy today in SEC action. Auburn tonight, coming off of that perfect season last year. On ESPN tonight, Georgia, Tennessee.
That'll be a pretty good ball game to watch with Zaire and the speed of Tennessee.
Evans on the carry.
That game also tonight. Tennessee's got some quarterback problems.
They sure do. Had their starting quarterback injured against UCLA.
That after Heath Schuler left early to go to the Washington Redskins.
Well, this one is cooked, glazed, and ready to be sliced. Just like Sonny's barbecue, it has been all good for Florida. And that'll be the last play of the game. Steve Spurrier, perfect at home in SEC openers.
Not only perfect, but look at the scores. 70 last week, 73 today. That's incredible.
The final score, once again, Florida 73, Kentucky 7. Stand by for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report.
We all benefit when kids get a good education. So support the children and schools in your community. Help a child learn and keep learning.
Coming September 20th. He's a single dad raising 3 sons by the rules. Rule 1, the money rule.
The First National Bank of Daddy is closed.
Rule 2, the good brother rule.
You gotta stop spying on your brother. You may need a kidney someday.
Me and the Boys, Tuesday, September 20th here on ABC.
Recycling's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Simply remove the lids and rinse glass, clear plastic, aluminum, and metal containers. Empty aerosol cans and remove the lids and keep your newspapers and magazines dry. Place household batteries in unsealed bags and place them all in Big Blue. Recycling is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Make a difference you can see. Recycling for you and me. It's easy with Big Blue.
Join Cox Cable live from Universal Studios Florida, the #1 movie studio and theme park in the world, for the free Cox Cable HBO preview weekend. Tune in today for one great HBO movie after another, uncut, commercial-free, with all the comforts of home. On Cox Cable, live from Universal Studios Florida, where you can ride the movies and watch HBO absolutely free on Channel 36. Don't miss it.
Okay, I understand the simplified pricing thing at Oldsmobile.
A simplified way of doing business, like Sierra with all your favorite features.
Right, I got that part. But what does that translate into every month?
Simple. A new Sierra with airbag and anti-lock brakes could run you as little as $199 a month.
This Sierra with airbag and anti-lock brakes is only how much?
$199 a month.
That's a simplified payment.
It's your money, Sierra, from $199 a month at your Gator Country Oldsmobile retailer.
The Medical Watch, Tuesdays at noon on TV 20 News.
The Thrifty Car Rental post-game report, brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates. From our New York studios, your host, John Sunday.
And welcome to the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. For the second consecutive game, Florida goes over 70 points. What a way to start the season. We have some time for some scores and highlights right now. We begin with Florida State, the defending national champions. A winner over Maryland. Actually survived an early scare in this game. For the first time since they entered the ACC, they actually trailed at halftime. They win at 52-20 by reeling off 35 unanswered points. Danny Cannell, 28 of 44, 417 yards, a touchdown, and a pair of interceptions. Michigan and Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish nearly pulled this one out. 26-24 the final. Ron Paulus, what a pass here as he finds Derek Mays marching his team down 6. They're up by 1. But Todd Collins brings Michigan back 7 yards to Seth Smith as he's just about to be sacked. It sets up Remy Hamilton, 42 yards, 2 seconds left. It goes through the uprights, and Michigan has the win, 26-24. 4 field goals in the game for Remy Hamilton, 26-24 the final. Penn State over USC, 38-14. This one is late. Kajana Carter had a 32-yard touchdown run in the game. Back with more of the Thrifty postgame report in a moment.
Since the beginning, you could always depend on your neighborhood for whatever you needed for your family vacation, even when you needed a car with more trunk space. The fact is, you can still rely on Thrifty Car Rental to deliver historically low rates on a variety of legendary cars. So whether you're traveling in your neighborhood or to someone else's, we're there. Your neighborhood Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates.
Welcome back now for more of the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. Picking up the scores, Alabama had a tough one against Vanderbilt. This one was tied at 7 apiece for much of the game. They win it 17-7. Wisconsin blows out Eastern Michigan 56-0. Fletcher and Moss both with 3 touchdowns in the game. Washington over Ohio State. A late rally by the Buckeyes falls short. Napoleon Kaufman breaking Hugh McElhinney's all-time school record for all-purpose yardage. And Texas 23-16 right now over Louisville, the score there. Back with more in a moment.